Ice Apocalypse. This is how you can stock up on the greatest beauties. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251 Liu Yan. In fact, Shen Miaomio is basically managing all the trivial matters in Taoyuan territory, and she is also very clear about the current situation of the territory. Newcomers sometimes complain and get a little moody. However, what Shen Miaomio felt was quite normal and human nature. After all, even if it is the end of the world, as long as we are human, we will naturally have emotions and desires, and people like to compare, especially people from China. Otherwise, everyone would have no shortage of food and drink before the end of the world, but instead they would live increasingly unhappy lives. On the contrary, in many countries that are less developed than China, their people still live in simple wooden houses and cannot even afford mobile phones, but they live very happily, just because you are content with what you have. But contentment and happiness are easy to say, but really difficult to practice, and some ideas are already deeply ingrained. Therefore, those new women who join Taoyuan collar may feel grateful at first, and feel extremely happy because they can eat a steamed bun and drink a mouthful of hot porridge. But when they see those women who join the Taoyuan collar early, can become female soldiers of the security team, or can become the managers of the Taoyuan collar, at worst, you can still do some easier jobs because of your seniority, and when it's time to eat, those who join Taoyuan Ling first can not only eat enough white rice, but there is also meat in the dishes. They can even get priority in earning contribution points, which can be exchanged for some meals or snacks. The human heart is sometimes the most unpredictable. It is also the most unsatisfactory. When you have been hungry for 3 days, a steamed bun is the most delicious food in the world. But when you have steamed buns to eat, you see that others can eat meat. You will find the steamed buns a bit bland and start thinking about when you can eat meat too. However, the rules of Taoyuan collar are like this. The woman who is favored by Xialuo will naturally have the best life. Then there are some professional talents, such as those who can join a security team and become female soldiers, or professionals such as doctors and accountants. After that, it's up to see who joins Taoyuan leader first. Those who join first will live a good life first. Those who join later can only start from the bottom. Although Shen Miaomio knew that some people would have some thoughts in their hearts, she felt that there was nothing wrong with it. On the contrary, it will not only make those who join Taoyuan leader first become more loyal, but also allow the newcomers behind to see the difference and make the newcomers behind more motivated. In fact, even before the doomsday, no matter what industry they are in, veteran employees will definitely have some preferential treatment, but the difference before the doomsday will not be too obvious. For example, the salary will not differ too much, but in Taoyuan territory, there is a hierarchy, and the difference can be said to be very big, so it's normal for newcomers to have some ideas, even if there are complaints, as long as it doesn't cause trouble and doesn't affect work. Shen Miaomio doesn't intend to take care of it too much. You can't even care about other people's thoughts. But what Shen Miaomio didn't know was that the newcomers were not only dissatisfied, but were also preparing to do something. Among the dozen or so women that Shen Miaomio brought out to reclaim wasteland today, there are about a dozen women who are new to Taoyuan territory. In the past 2 days, after Shen Miaomio ordered them to rest, they sat on the ground in 2s and 3s to relieve their fatigue after the apocalypse. Many women have actually been living a bad life. In addition, today's life is really tiring, so many women have a sad face. At this time, among the 3 women sitting on the outermost edge, a tall and beautiful woman first secretly glanced at Shen Miaomio in the distance and saw that Shen Miaomio was not paying attention to them. A sincere smile appeared on the face of the gorgeous woman, and then she looked at the other 2 women beside her, pretending to be enthusiastic. 2 sisters, my name is Liu Yan. What are your names? Today we are assigned to work together. It's fate. It's just time for everyone to get to know each other. Fans Iolian, Wang, Chunmin. The 2 women sitting with Liu Yan also introduced themselves, but their introductions were very simple and not too enthusiastic. The reason for this, upon arrival, both women were very tired and not in much interest in chatting. Secondly, today Shen Miaomio assigned all 3 of them together in groups, and then divided each of them into an area. This is their workload today. Whichever group completes the task fastest and best will be rewarded, and whichever group finishes the slowest will also be subject to a small penalty. But when they were working in the morning, Liu Yan worked slower than them. So Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin had some objections to Liu Yan. Everyone feels that Liu Yan is getting more and more unpleasant the more they look at her. Liu Yan is prettier than them, but at the end of the day, she looks like someone else's mistress, and they were also unlucky. Why were they grouped with Liu Yan? In fact, if Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin had known Liu Yan before the end of the world, they would have discovered that they had guessed correctly. Liu Yan's occupation before the end of the world was to be a mistress. Originally, before the end of the world, Liu Yan's life was quite comfortable. You go to high-end places and wear all kinds of famous brands. You don't have to work. You only have to deal with men for a few minutes every week. But when the ice disaster came, she was suddenly thrown into hell, not to mention enjoying life. Even having a full meal is a luxury. Fortunately, after the flood came, she was captured by a group of men who were out searching for supplies, and those men had more food. Although those men are actually a group of thugs, women are slaves in the eyes of these men, and they can play with and torture them at will. But Liu Yan relied on her ability to seduce men, and successfully hooked up with a boss, and made the little boss obsessed with her. So from then on, Liu Yan's life began to get much better, and she no longer had to become a lowly slave girl like other women. However, God seemed to have played a joke on Liu Yan. Liu Yan had not lived a few days in her new life when a group of thugs discovered Taoyuan Ling, and then they encountered a tough opponent in Taoyuan Ling. Those men are all dead, and Liu Yan and the others have become Taoyuan leaders. When she first became a leader of Taoyuan, Liu Yan was still full of expectations, because the women in Taoyuan Collar live in villas, and the women in Taoyuan Collar seem to look pretty good. This shows that Taoyuan Ling is very wealthy and has no shortage of food and drink. And I heard that there's only one man in Taoyuan, so if she hooks up with him, it will definitely be much better than following those thugs around. However, what made Liu Yan collapse was that after she came to Taoyuan Ling, she was said to have seduced the only man in Taoyuan Ling, and she had never even seen him. Moreover, they, the newcomers, are treated worse than those women who joined Taoyuan Collar early. Liu Yan was originally a woman who loved comparison. When she saw that ordinary-looking women were doing better than her, they would yell at her. How could she bear it? Chapter 252. This woman is probably crazy. So after enduring the humiliation and burden for a day yesterday, Liu Yan started her own way of causing trouble. Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin were still feeling unlucky before, so why were they grouped with Liu Yan? In fact, they didn't pay attention. When Liu Yan was assigning teams in the morning, she deliberately stood with them, so the three of them were assigned together. The reason Liu Yan did this was because yesterday, Liu Yan heard Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin complaining in private. They also felt that Shin Miao was unfair. That's why Liu Yan found the two of them. In fact, Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin arrived at Taoyuan Ling one day earlier than Liu Yan, and there were several women who came to Taoyuan on the same day as Liu Yan. Logically speaking, Liu Yan and the women who came to Taoyuan on the same day knew each other. If anything happened to Liu Yan, she should go to them. But on the contrary, although Liu Yan knew the women who joined Taoyuan leader on the same day as her, Liu Yan had no idea of getting close to them. After all, those women in the previous thug team were all slave girls, and after Liu Yan was favored, she often yelled in front of them, and even bullied them. And now Liu Yan, like them, is a newcomer to Taoyuan leader, and is the newcomer with the lowest status. Liu Yan no longer has any status advantage in front of those women, so before Taoyuan leader became famous, Liu Yan didn't dare to stay with those women. Otherwise she might be the one being bullied now. Liu Yan could tell that Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin didn't seem to like her very much, but Liu Yan didn't care. As the saying goes, opposites attract and same sex repels. We are all women. This attitude is normal, and Liu Yan's attitude towards other women is either her competition or her stepping stone. She has no intention of being friends either, so Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin are destined to be her stepping stones. Their current attitudes are irrelevant to Liu Yan. When she gets the upper hands in the future, the two of them will naturally kneel down to fawn over her. Liu Yan pretended not to notice the attitudes of Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin. She still looked at them with a smile and said, "Two sisters, you came to Taoyuan earlier than me. From now on, I will be your sister. Please follow me, please. Take good care of me. Sisters, please tell me, how is our Taoyuan collar doing?" As the saying goes, don't hit someone with a smiling face. Liu Yan's attitude is very correct. Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin were very benefited from the sisters shouting. After all, Taoyuan has a strict hierarchy. Not to mention the managers, even the women who joined Taoyuan earlier than them have a higher status than them, so Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin were naturally very happy to experience the feeling of being respected in front of new people. Suddenly, both of them had smiles on their faces. Fan Xiaolian whispered, "You also stayed in Taoyuan Collar for a day yesterday. In fact, you also know what you should know. Our Taoyuan Collar is actually quite good and feels safe. It is for those of us who joined later. Women, some are not very friendly, we are just unlucky. If only we could come to Taoyuan to get it earlier. In that case, such tiring work as today would not be our turn." Wang Chunmin also sighed softly and said, "Huh, what's good? If I had known that this Taoyuan leader would bully newcomers like this, I might as well stay at home by myself." Liu Yan glanced at Wang Chunmin, who was talking behind her. "I'm afraid this woman is crazy. You are comfortable staying in your own home, but can your food and water fall from the sky? Now it is not like before the apocalypse. As long as you open your mouth, countless licking dogs will come to your door, and, is it a question of whether to stay at home or not? They are all prisoners of someone else's Taoyuan leader, right?" However, Liu Yan still echoed in a low voice, "Indeed, Taoyuan leader bullies us newcomers too much," and the two sisters have also seen that there are many people in the Taoyuan leadership. Not only are they divided into different classes, but everyone also has large and small circles. They unite with each other to exclude us newcomers, and if we newcomers want to live a good life here, we naturally have to unite. Hearing Liu Yan's words, Wang Chunmin couldn't help but sneer. "We newcomers don't have any important positions, and we don't have much say. What's the use of us being united? Can we still gather a crowd to rebel?" Fan Xiaolian was much more tactful. She smiled and said, "Chunmin, don't say it so harshly. In fact, what Liu Yan said is right. We are all newcomers. There is nothing wrong with taking care of each other in the future." Liu Yan whispered at this time, "Two sisters, actually I have a way. Maybe it can make us newcomers live a better life in the future, even if it can't make all the newcomers live a good life in the future. The three of us, I will definitely have a chance to live a good life. I wonder if you would like to take a gamble with me." Wang Chunmin looked at Liu Yan and said with distrust, "Liu Yan, are you serious?" "Just you." Fan Xiaolian said, "Chunmin, everyone is just resting and chanting now, so don't be so serious. At least let Liu Yan tell her method first, and let us listen before talking. If we think she can, if the method doesn't work, the worst thing to do is just don't do it." In fact, from the moment Liu Yan took the initiative to find the two of them, Fan Xiaolian knew that this Liu Yan was not a fuel-efficient lamp. Moreover, Liu Yan's appearance and figure are both pretty good. Although she is definitely not as good as Mrs. Shen Miao and Qin Yumani, she is at least in the same type as them, and they all belong to the plump type with a bulging figure, and their Taoyuan leader only has one man, and they obviously prefer women like Liu Yan, and Liu Yan is beautiful and has a bit of a vixen temperament. Maybe she will be noticed by the Lord, and then she will fly up a branch and become a phoenix. So since Liu Yan wanted to be friends with her, Fan Xiaolian also made a special effort to give Liu Yan face. She can also be considered an investment. In the future, if Liu Yan is really favored by the Lord, her current performance will definitely gain points for Liu Yan in the future. She will also benefit from it then. To take a step back, even if Liu Yan did not meet her expectations. So even if she says a few nice words now, she won't lose anything, right? And after hearing Fan Xiaolian speak for her several times, Liu Yan couldn't help but take another look at Fan Xiaolian. This woman is much smarter than that Wang Chunmin. If her plan can really succeed, then she won't mind letting Fan Xiaolian be her loyal dog in the future. Wang Chunmin looked at Liu Yan and curled her lips in disdain, but in the end she didn't say much. She wanted to hear what Liu Yan could do. Liu Yan approached the two of them and whispered her plan in a low voice. Chapter 253. Now I finally see the real person. When Li Xialuo and Qin Yumi found Shen Miao was busy directing a dozen women. However, although there were many of them, Li Xialuo saw that their results were not very good, and the cultivated land they reclaimed was not too much because Li Xialuo also worked in the countryside when he was a child. He knows that this is actually normal. After all, Shen Miao and the others are currently cultivating wasteland in mountains and forests. The soil is hard and overgrown with weeds, making it much more difficult to maintain than the land that is often cultivated in rural areas. And not only Shen Miao may not have done any farm work, even all the women led by Taoyuan, because Li Xialuo took in all younger women, may not have done any farm work. Now let them suddenly come to reclaim the land. It will be very efficient, but fortunately, Li Xiaoluo didn't expect them to create much arable land and then grow much food, because whether it is now or in the future, if they only rely on farming, how can they feed everyone in Taoyuan? And perhaps only Li Xiaoluo knows now that it is basically impossible to farm on a large scale after the apocalypse. There is no such condition at all. For example, during the first ice disaster, due to the extreme low temperature, even if everyone was extremely short of food, there was no way to farm. Maybe no one even had this idea. Now is the second stage of the flood. Although the temperature has risen, there are actually very few survivors who have the idea to farm, not only because most of the land was submerged, there was no land or food seeds for the survivors to cultivate. Another reason is that there is no safe environment for survivors to have the motivation to do it themselves. Although it is true that Chinese people love farming in their genes, in this apocalyptic environment, how many survivors can guarantee that after planting food, they can survive until the moment of harvest? Maybe the results of their hard work will only benefit others in the end, so with that time, they might as well go outside to search for food, or directly rob other survivors, when the third disaster comes. Although the temperature will be normal and the water will recede, a new disaster will occur, which will not be suitable for large-scale farming by survivors. However, at that time, it was fortunate that people with superpowers appeared, which could greatly speed up the growth of food. And it also allowed the human survivors to barely survive. Therefore, Shen Miaomiao and the others' farming plan is considered dispensable in Li Xiaoluo's eyes, but since Shen Miaomiao and the others have this idea, Li Xiaoluo will naturally not dampen their enthusiasm, and if you have nothing to do, just cultivate your sentiments. Brother-in-law, you're here. Let's take a look at the fruits of our morning's work. How do you like it? I'm great, right? Seeing Li Xiaoluo and Qin Yumi appear, Shen Yanyan, who was still grimacing, suddenly ran to Li Xiaoluo in excitement to ask for credit. Shen Miaomiao really had no shame in looking at this sister. She only fed her for less than 5 minutes in total, so she still had the nerve to say that she was awesome. Brother Xialuo, sister Yume, you are here. Shen Miaomiao also came over and said hello to Li Xialuo and Qin Yumi. Seeing Shen Miaomiao, Qin Yumi's face turned a little red. After all, she seemed to have let Miaomiao go, but I really can't blame her. Qin Yumi quickly looked at Shen Miaomiao and said, Miaomiao, do you want my help? Why don't you give me a farm tool and I will dig the ground too? Speaking of which, I have never planted anything in my whole life. Where is the land, Shen? Miaomiao shook her head and said, Sister Yume, you'd better stop trying. These wastelands are too difficult. Don't get blisters on your hands by then. After a pause, Shen Miaomiao continued, besides, I don't plan to cultivate too much of these wastelands. Just get an acre of land first. The main thing is to gain experience first. Otherwise, if we plant the seeds by then, if you go down, you won't be able to grow much food. Not only is it a waste of time, it will also be a waste of seeds. That's okay. There's really no need to be too hasty. Hearing what Shen Miaomiao said, Qin Yumi nodded. The main reason is that they really don't know much about farming. They don't even know whether such land can grow food. Or after planting, can they take good care of it and see a good harvest? So really don't be too anxious. It's best to explore and experience first. Of course, the most important thing is that as people close to Li Xiaoluo, they naturally know that Taoyuan leader is not short of food. The food in Taoyuan leader is enough for all of them to eat for a long time. So even if you have to prepare for a rainy day, there is no need to worry too much. There is plenty of time for them. The appearance of Li Xiaoluo and Qin Yumi also made the women who were working quietly look over. After all, there is only one man in Taoyuan, and it is self-evident who Li Xiaoluo is. Most of the women who came to reclaim the wasteland this time are new people who have recently joined the Taoyuan territory. Many women have only heard of Li Xiaoluo, the supreme leader, but have not yet met Li Xiaoluo. Now I finally meet the real person. Of course, most women who have never met Li Xiaoluo are just curious. I want to see what kind of man he is who can establish such a territory full of women in the apocalypse. But after seeing Li Xiaoluo, many women felt a little disappointed. After all, women are the creatures that can fantasize the most, especially for men. Originally, they thought Li Xiaoluo could establish the Taoyuan territory in the apocalypse, support so many women, and even train a women's army. Not only did Li Xiaoluo have 3 heads and 6 arms, but in their hearts, Li Xiaoluo was also a very majestic and mighty man. At least he had the aura of a king. But now that they see real people, they feel that their fantasy is just a fantasy. Xialuo looks very ordinary, just like an ordinary boy next door, nothing special. However, most women are just curious about Xialuo, but there are also a few women who show great excitement on their faces after seeing Xialuo. Liu Yan and the others did not expect that they had just discussed a plan not long ago, and they had been praying in their hearts that they could see the Lord as soon as possible, because their plan can only be implemented after meeting Xialuo. But who would have thought that just a moment later, Xialuo really appeared in front of them? Is it really God who is helping me? And no matter where I go, Liu Yan, I will be the fate of a rich man. After seeing Xialuo, Liu Yan thought with some excitement. Now that Lord Xialuo was already in front of them, Liu Yan winked at Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin. It's time to start taking action according to the plan. Chapter 254 Protest. After Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin received Liu Yan's hint, they looked at each other, and then after a moment of hesitation, they decided to believe Liu Yan for once. So Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin suddenly threw away the farm tools in their hands and ran to Xialuo. Lord, it's unfair. It's really unfair. Our current distribution of work and food is not reasonable at all. Yes, you are bullying us newcomers too much. It is not reasonable at all. Seeing the two women who suddenly ran out to protest loudly, all the women who were working were stunned. They did not expect that there were still people so brave. When they joined the Taoyuan territory, they were strictly told that they must abide by the rules of the Taoyuan territory, obey the orders and arrangements of their superiors, and not gather in groups to cause trouble. The rules of Taoyuan color are actually very strict, but most post-apocalyptic women can actually accept them. Even, they are willing to accept it in their hearts, because many of these women have experienced being in prison or harmed by thugs after the end of the world, and in those thug teams, those thugs won't tell you any rules. Maybe when they are in a bad mood, they will vent their emotions on them at will. In the post-apocalyptic world, it is a good thing for a powerful team to have relatively fair rules for weak women like them. At least having rules means there is order. Therefore, although the current situation of Taoyuan color is indeed not friendly to newcomers, most of the newly joined women may only feel a pity in their hearts. It is a pity that they did not join Taoyuan color earlier, or maybe it's just envy. Envy of those women who joined Taoyuan color early. Of course, some women may complain in their hearts, but they will never dare to say it out loud, not to mention suddenly running out to protest. They are so brave. After all, even in the peaceful age before the end of the world, are there any dissatisfied people? There must be some. Just look at the keyboard warriors who vent their emotions online to see how many there are. But did anyone come out to protest? And this is the post-apocalyptic world. If any other thug team dared to protest like this, they might be beaten to death. Even if they are in Taoyuan now, no one knows what the consequences will be, but you will definitely be punished, right? Therefore, as newcomers, they felt that Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin were brave and worthy of their admiration. After all, the content of Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin's protest is not only to fight for the rights of the two of them, but also to fight for the rights of all newcomers. Others are bravely charging ahead, but they don't have the courage. It's not too much to support them in your heart. The sudden actions of Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin made Shen Miao and the others a little confused. They did not expect that such a situation would suddenly occur. However, after Shen Miao came back to her senses, her face turned a little ugly. After all, she had been here just now, and even worked with them for a while. If these two women have any opinions, couldn't they raise them with themselves first? I didn't mention it before, but now that Brother Xialuo arrived, they came out to protest. It was obviously intentional. Shen Miao naturally knew that Brother Xialuo would not blame herself for these people, but they also seemed to be giving her eye drops. Even though Shen Miao has a good temper, after adapting to the end of the world for so long, she now has the temper of a superior. In fact, those who are in high positions are all promoted by others. Everyone respects Shen Miao in her body and territory, so she naturally has the mentality of a superior. But just when Shen Miao was about to speak, another tall and beautiful woman suddenly walked over, twisting her waist, and then the woman stopped in front of the extremely excited Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin. Sister Xiaolian, Sister Chunmin, please stop talking. I know you are all doing it for my health. But I'm fine. The rules of our Taoyuan territory were set by the Lord, and we should abide by them unconditionally. The person who came over was naturally Liu Yan. She first pretended to persuade Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin, then Liu Yan looked at Xialuo again, and said with a pitiful look, "Lord, please don't blame Sister Xiaolian and Sister Wang Chun. They didn't intentionally run out to make trouble, and they didn't do it for themselves. It's for me, it's because my body is too weak. Yesterday I had a stomach ache for most of the night because I didn't eat enough. And then today I have to do such hard labor again." They were afraid that my body wouldn't be able to bear it, so they had the courage to come out and speak. Before the end of the world, Liu Yan went to study in order to charm her father, including the way she walked, the way she spoke to men, etc. In short, everything she did and all her actions were to attract men's attention to her. Liu Yan's previous plan to persuade Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin was also very simple. As soon as they saw the only man in Taoyuan leader, Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin first came forward to protest, and then Liu Yan came out to speak for Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin. In this way, Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin's protest was not unreasonable, nor was it selfish for themselves. But they stood up bravely for the sake of their companions. Then Liu Yan stood up, not only to find excuses for Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin, but also to have the opportunity to get close to Li Xialuo, and then attract Li Xialuo's attention so that Li Xialuo could pay attention to her. It would be even better if Li Xialuo could directly fall under her skirt. As long as she can become Li Xialuo's woman, then she will directly become one of the most noble people in Taoyuan territory. Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin also felt that Liu Yan's method was somewhat promising after all. Although Liu Yan is not a gorgeous beauty like Shen Miao, she still has a protruding figure and looks sexy. What man wouldn't like her? As long as Liu Yan can ascend to power, then as their comrades, no, as heroes, they will naturally live a good life. Even if Liu Yan did not charm the Lord, they came out to protest for the safety of their companions, and I believe they will not be punished too severely. Two women, Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin, were not stupid. They also assessed the risks of this operation before they dared to stand up. Sure enough, after hearing Liu Yan's words, Shen Miao's face was no longer as angry as before. Women are always easy to be soft-hearted, especially a kind-hearted woman like Shen Miao. This is also the reason why Li Xialuo asked Shen Miao and Zhou Xiaotong to manage the territory. If Li Xialuo was allowed to manage, as long as someone was disobedient, he would give them a beating or give them a bullet, but no matter what time it is, relying solely on coercion will definitely not work. You also need to be gentle. Therefore, Li Xialuo and Shen Miao just cooperate with each other, just like disciplining children at home. It is best for one parent to be a good person and the other a bad person. Regarding today's behavior, if they were protesting in front of Shen Miao, then Li Xialuo would pretend that they didn't know about it, just let Shen Miao handle it by himself. But since they dare to run in front of him to protest, no matter what reason they have, Li Xialuo will deal with it seriously. The rules he sets are the rules. Chapter 255 Punishment Management. So before Shen Miao could speak, Li Xialuo had already spoken. Miao, are they from the logistics department? Who is in charge? Called all the managers responsible for managing them over. The largest official in the logistics department is naturally Minister Shen Miao. The logistics department is subdivided into several small departments, such as the material management department, finance department, personnel department, etc. Then, the person in charge of each small department is the department director, and there are several team leaders under each director. The team leaders are responsible for managing the specific work of the people below. This is the current organizational structure of Taoyuan Ling. Because the population of Taoyuan is not large, the division and management of functional departments are actually relatively simple, even similar to that of a small company. After Shen Miao heard Li Xialuo's words, she didn't say much and immediately used the intercom to notify him. Taoyuan territory currently has a small territory, so several managers who received the notification from Shen Miao quickly came over. Her name is Li Yangsu, and she is the supervisor of Liu Yan's department. And the team leader responsible for managing Liu Yan and the others is Zhou Zhuan, who is here at the scene. Shen Miao knew that Li Xialuo was not very familiar with some managers, so she quickly introduced them to Li Xialuo. Then, Li Yangsu and Zhou Zhuan stood in front of Li Xialuo, and they were very uneasy at this time, especially Li Yangsu. Although she was the head of the department, she was not at the scene just now, and she didn't even know what happened. However, the team leader Zhou Zhuan quickly told Li Yangsu in a low voice what had just happened. After listening, Li Yangsu was no longer so confused, but Liu Yan and the newcomers were also very angry. They want to die? Don't get involved with them. You must know that in the territory here, Basically no such troubles have ever occurred now that this kind of thing happened among the people under her jurisdiction. No wonder she was called over. Li Xiaoluo first looked at Li Yangsu and said sternly, "You are their supervisor. Didn't you teach them the rules of our Taoyuan leader?" Li Yangsu did not dare to refute. "Lord, I failed to discipline them well, please punish them." Although Li Yangsu felt aggrieved, she did not dare to have any dissatisfaction with Li Xiaoluo. All of this was caused by Liu Yan and the newcomers. Li Xiaoluo did not deal with Li Yangsu first, but looked at Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin. "Are you dissatisfied with my Taoyuan territory? In fact, some people in the sub-territory have been dissatisfied. After all, I am not God, and I don't need to satisfy all of you. But they were the first to raise it at that time, people, so I gave them the opportunity to leave my Taoyuan collar. Since you are so dissatisfied with Taoyuan leader now, I will give you a chance and you can leave here." "Lord, we don't want to leave, we just want to be treated fairly." After hearing Li Xiaoluo's words, Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin shook their heads in shock. There's a vast ocean outside now. If they leave like this, wouldn't it mean that they are drowned? Moreover, the Lord's reaction seemed to have exceeded their expectations. At this time, Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin were very worried, not knowing what Li Xiaoluo would do with them. In the end, you won't really drive them away directly, right? How is that any different from killing them? At this time, Liu Yan was also dumbfounded, because this was completely different from what she had imagined after she appeared just now. The Lord didn't look at her at all. She followed her model steps just now and deliberately lowered her collar. Are they all just for fun? Unfair? Is there any absolute fairness in this world? Even if a family has 2 sons, parents can't keep a bowl of water equal. Are you telling me to be fair? In Taoyuan territory, the rules I said are the rules. I don't need you to think it's fair. I just need you to abide by the rules. If you think it's unfair, I will give you a chance to leave, and you don't leave, then don't blame me. You've dealt with it." Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin's faces turned pale, and their bodies were shaking with fear. They were even thinking about whether to confess Liu Yan. After all, Liu Yan was the culprit, and she deserved the severest punishment. But Li Xiaoluo looked at Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin and said, "Don't worry, I won't punish you. If someone makes trouble in the future, I will only punish the people who manage you." Li Xiaoluo looked at Li Yangsu and Zhou Zhuan again. "Since you are the ones who manage them, it is your dereliction of duty if you fail to manage them well. You have joined the Taoyuan collar not long ago, and I don't like to use it on my own people violence, so I won't punish you with force this time. Zhou Zhuan, you are their direct manager. You have the greatest responsibility. I will punish you to work in an outside stronghold for a period of time. As for when you can be transferred back, it depends on your performance there. As for Li Yangsu, you are the supervisor and have joined and several responsibilities. I will forfeit all your benefits for this month. Your daily meals will be based on the standards for newcomers." Then, Li Xiaoluo briefly told Zhou Zhuan and the others about the situation at Stronghold Number 1 and Stronghold Number 2. In fact, Taoyuan territory has a sub-territory, and everyone knows it, but this was the first time they heard that there was still a stronghold. But after Li Xiaoluo finished speaking, Zhou Zhuan had a grimace on her face and was almost ready to cry. She even hated Fan Xiaolian, Wang Chunmin and the others, because if the Lord sends her to the sub-territory, it will not be much different from here because there are also female soldiers in the sub-territory. It is also very safe, but that stronghold is like a temporary recruitment point, and there is no guarantee of safety, food, or even daily necessities there. Going to work in that stronghold is just like being sent to the frontier in the TV series before, and Li Yangsu was about to cry without tears, because she was going to have a month of hard life. However, after hearing what happened to Zhou Zhuan, she felt that her punishment was quite good after all. She can still stay in the territory and resume her original life in a month. But no matter what, the eyes Li Yangsu looked at Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin were full of evil. It's all idiots like them who still want fairness no matter what time it is now, causing them to be punished. The Lord's meaning is also very simple. He only punishes them as managers. As for the people who cause trouble below, he will leave it to them to punish the managers. Li Yangsu and Zhou Zhuan themselves have been punished so severely, so it's strange that they would let Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin go so easily. Chapter 256. What my brother said makes sense. Li Xiaoluo has also changed his methods now. In the future, if someone makes trouble below, he will not deal with the troublemaker directly. Instead, punish the people responsible for management, and then let the managers punish the people below. In this case, It will be more effective than directly punishing the troublemakers. The impact is even greater, and in this way, the managers and the people below will be on opposite sides, so that they can supervise each other. In addition, the reason why Li Xiaoluo punished Zhou Xuan for working in a stronghold outside was actually to ask Zhou Xuan to be a catfish there and to publicize the situation of Taoyuan leader there, so that everyone in the stronghold would yearn for the life in Taoyuan leader. Li Xiaoluo still needs to set a few rules for today's events. Li Xiaoluo looked at Shen Miao. Since the newcomers feel that the rules of the Taoyuan territory are unfair to them, then we will change the rules. The women who are captured or taken in by us in the future can no longer stay directly in the Taoyuan territory, but need to be assigned to the following. First, only those who perform well or are the ones we need can come in live in the territory. Then, for the newcomers who have recently joined the territory, give them a 1-week performance period. You ask the managers below to rate them. If the women who do not perform up to standard are asked to leave and go to the stronghold, after all, everyone's choice is two-way. They can feel that the rules of the Taoyuan leader are unfair, and they can be dissatisfied with our Taoyuan leader. In turn, we don't need useless people. Shen Miao nodded. Brother Xialuo, I understand, and what Li Xiaoluo said immediately made some newcomers at the scene dumbfounded. How could this happen? This is definitely a disaster. Although it was a bit tiring and hard work, Taoyuan Ling was also quite good. There was no harm here, and we no longer had to live a life of being hungry for 3 days before eating one meal, and as long as they stay for a while, they can get rid of their status as newcomers, and their treatment will get better and better in the future. But if these women make trouble, it may be very difficult for them to even stay in Taoyuan territory. At this moment, when everyone looked at Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin, their eyes were full of evil. They thought Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin were brave before, but now they really hate them, and this is also the reason why Li Xiaoluo did not directly deal with Fan Xiaolian, Wang Chunmin and other women. For example, they were not directly driven away or thrown to the stronghold because they still need to stay in the territory and serve as negative teaching materials. Li Xiaoluo wants everyone in the territory to see with their own eyes the fate of those who dare to cause trouble. First of all, those who make trouble will harm their management and be punished. After that, they will definitely be punished and make things difficult for them by the management. From now on, they will not be able to live a good life in the territory, and not only their superiors, but also the newcomers who work with them will be affected by them in this way. They will be ostracized by everyone. Only after Fan Xiaolian and Wang Chunmin had been punished in the territory, Li Xiaoluo would let Shen Miao decide whether to stay or leave based on their performance. If you still don't perform well, just drive them away in the morning. Li Xiaoluo accompanied Shen Miao and the others to play farming for a while, and then listened to Shen Yanyan and the others as they dreamed about planting sweet potatoes, corns, tomatoes, peppers, and even watermelons. When the time came, they would be full of joy. And Li Xiaoluo felt quite happy fun. Although everyone is basically a layman, as long as you have seeds and land, you can plant whatever you want. They don't believe it. It's not like they can't grow anything. It was almost noon, and the small farm planned by Shen Miao had begun to take shape. It was almost time for dinner, so Li Xiaoluo, Shen Miao, and the others went back to Villa number 1 for dinner. As for the other women, they naturally went back to the canteen of the logistics department to eat. As Li Xiaoluo left, he didn't notice the resentful look on his face by the woman named Liu Yan and Liu Yan. Fan Xiaolian and the others will soon know what they will face next. In the afternoon, Shen Miao and the others went out to work again, and Li Xiaoluo did not follow them before the apocalypse. The tiring work of farming was naturally a matter for men, but in the post-apocalyptic Taoyuan territory, it seemed to have become a matter of course for their women. It would be okay for Li Xiaoluo to experience it occasionally. But if he stayed there all the time, it would be a bit abrupt, and the women below would also be very nervous. After Shen Miao and the others left, only little Panpin and the maid who took care of her were left in Villa number 1. Little Panpin is still very well behaved. It is said that she occasionally goes out to play for a while every day, and the rest of the time she stays at home and does her homework. What a poor child. It's the end of the world, but she still has a good teacher. Although it is actually good for children to learn something, Li Xiaoluo still feels that it is not necessary. At least there is no need to spend too much time on learning after the end of the world. There is no need for her to go to college, nor is there any need for her to become a talented person. And if we really talk about talents, Xiao Panpin will actually be the top talent in the future. So now, Li Xiaoluo wants to take good care of Xiao Panpin and make her live happily, so that she can be willing to contribute to Taoyuan leader in the future. Little Panpin, Let's not do homework. Xialuo stepped forward and pushed the homework book in front of little Panpin away domineeringly. Little Panpin was stunned for a moment, and then whispered, "Brother, what do you want me to do?" While talking, Xiao Panpin glanced at her homework book. After all, the teacher assigned her a lot of homework, and she needed to finish it before she could play with her phone. "It's okay. My brother is just telling you that from now on you can't spend more than an hour studying every day. We have to play more. Studying is of no use." Little Panpin opened her mouth and looked at Xialuo. "What my brother said makes sense, but no one plays with me." At this moment, Xiao Panpin felt Xialuo's goodness and finally told the truth with a little grievance, even though Shen Miao and the others were very kind to her. After all, the age difference was too big and they definitely couldn't play with her all the time. Xialuo suddenly remembered something, smiled and touched little Panpin's little head. "Don't worry, I will find some little guys to play with you right away." Then, Xialuo came to Josiah Tong through the portal. Xialuo came out of the portal and came to the hall. In addition to Josiah Tong who came to greet him, there were also a group of tiger-headed puppies running towards Xialuo. These black coals are so ugly. Although he was used to seeing them, Xialuo still sighed. Josiah Tong couldn't help covering her mouth and snickering, and then defended those dark little coals. "Don't talk about them like that, little guys, you have to praise them more. Although they are very dark and ugly, they are very gentle. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257 just got it together in 1 week. That's right. The black coals Xialuo mentioned are the sons of the general and Corn. There were 7 puppies in total, and 4 of them looked like they had inherited the general's genes. They were all black, and the blackness was very thorough, almost as good as coal, without any mottling. The other 3 also inherited Corn, and are all yellow. However, these little guys were well taken care of by Josiah Tong and the others. They were all tiger-headed and chubby-looking. Speaking of which, they are more than a month old and can already be weaned and live on their own. When Xialuo was talking to Xiao Panpin at Longting Villa, he suddenly remembered that he had promised to give her a puppy to play with. Therefore, Xialuo came here right away. Xialuo hugged Josiah Tong and sat down on the sofa, then called to the puppies, "Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, come here." Following Xialuo's order, 2 little black dogs and a little yellow dog really ran towards Xialuo happily with their short legs. Yes, he is quite smart, he remembers his name. "Come as soon as you call." Josiah Tong was lying on Xialuo beside him, and couldn't help but fainted from laughter. It was Xialuo who gave names to several puppies. It was so random. What are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? 7 puppies correspond to exactly 1 week, so Josiah Tong couldn't help but laugh every time he heard it. If she had known this, she might as well have just agreed to the name Charlotte gave them for the first time. Xialuo gave the 7 puppies simpler names for the first time, namely Xia, Xiaor, Xiaizhen, Xiaosi, Xiaoyu. Josiah Tong was stunned when he heard this. It was really casual. However, Josiah Tong thought that the name Xiaizhen was not very pleasant, so she asked Xialuo to change it. She felt that just changing a bunch of names at random would sound better than Xiaizhen and Xiaosi, but who would have thought that Xialuo would change them to Wednesday and Thursday? It's really better not to change it. Xialuo teased the 3 puppies around him. Monday was the eldest and the largest. He was a mighty man. He would definitely be as powerful and domineering as his father in the future. Xialuo looked at Josiah Tong and said, "Don't laugh, they are so big and they should be weaned. I will take these 3 over there for little Panpin to play with." Okay. Then I'll get you a cage and dog food." Josiah Tong and Xiaomin are basically taking care of the puppies, so Josiah Tong is really reluctant to let them go. But when Josiah Tong heard that Xialuo had brought her over to keep little Panpin company, Josiah Tong was reluctant to let it go. She could still compete with a child, and there are so many dogs here, which is indeed a bit much. It's okay that they are not big now, but when they grow up, there will be 9 big dogs in total. Josiah Tong can't even imagine it. In fact, no matter what animal it is the cutest when you are a child. So let's send a few away quickly. The more he thought about it, Josiah Tong moved a little faster, and it was a wise choice to send him away. Swish swish. At this moment, Xialuo's walkie-talkie rang. "Mr. Li, are you there?" Please answer when you receive it. Mr. Lee, I am Zhao Mimi. A big ship has arrived near our hotel. Do you want to come and take a look, Zhao? Mimi's nuanced voice kept coming from the intercom. Although her voice was still as beautiful as before, Li Xiaoluo could clearly feel a hint of urgency in her tone. I'm here. What kind of ship are you talking about? Is it a warship? Also, what is that ship doing now, Mr. Lee? Great, you finally heard it. That's right, that ship is not a warship, it looks like a cargo ship. They are now docked not far from our hotel. We don't know what they are going to do, but they seem to have put down a small boat and are heading towards us. Come over here to the hotel. I know, I'll come over, after. Finishing the conversation with Zhao Mimi, Li Xiaoluo went over immediately without being too anxious. Instead, they took their 3 dogs with them on Monday and teleported back to Longting Villa. First, when little Panpin saw the 3 chubby little puppies, her eyes were shining and she was immediately overjoyed. Her eyes looking at Li Xiaoluo were also full of gratitude. Li Xiaoluo did not stay with Xiao Panpin longer, and then called Zhou Xuan from the logistics department, the team leader who was punished by Li Xiaoluo, and went to the stronghold. This time we went to Zhao Mimi and their stronghold, and we happened to take her there. Then he got on the speedboat. Li Xiaoluo increased the accelerator and drove towards the hotel where Zhao Mimi was. Li Xiaoluo actually passed by the number 2 stronghold where Sun Kaianqian was on the way. Li Xiaoluo wanted to see Mr. Wang and the others. He didn't know if he was healed, but Li Xiaoluo was in a hurry this time, so I'd better go next time. I believe Mr. Wang won't mind either. After driving at full speed for a while, the speedboat soon arrived near the waters of the number 1 stronghold where Zhao Mimi and the others were staying. Li Xiaoluo did not drive the speedboat directly, but stopped the speedboat and flew a drone to check the situation. But after the drone flew around, Li Xiaoluo found no sign of any large ships. Did Zhao Mimi lie to him? Although this possibility is very low, if they are controlled by someone, it is not impossible, but even if it is true, it will have no impact on Li Xiaoluo. If you want to ambush him and attack him, just dream. After all, with a stealth reconnaissance drone around, everything will be invisible to him. After Li Xiaoluo didn't see the ship on the water, he controlled a drone and flew towards the hotel where Zhao Mimi and the others were staying. As long as the drone went into the hotel to take a look, he would immediately know what was going on. At this time, in the hotel, Zhao Mimi and all the other women looked nervous. Qin Xianglin patted her small chest, looked at Zhao Mimi with some fear and said, "Sister Mi, those people really left? Will they come back?" Irina also stuck out her pink tongue cutely. "Sister Mi, can you not be so arrogant next time? You should have told Mr. Lee just now that it was urgent. We were almost finished, but it's okay, those people just came here to investigate, and then we scared them away." Zhao Mimi gave Irina an angry look. "You're a snack, haven't you heard the story of the boy who cried wolf? It was indeed a bit dangerous just now, but it's far from a desperate situation. We can think of a way to hold on until Mr. Lee comes over. If we say it's urgent when we encounter something, what if Mr. Lee gets annoyed and encounters something urgent again in the future, but Mr. Lee doesn't take it seriously?" Chapter 258. They also have a backstage. Li Xiaoluo listened to Zhao Mimi's conversation for a while through the drone, and quickly understood what was going on. A big ship did come here before, and later the big ship also sent a small boat to the hotel where Zhao Mimi and the others were staying, probably to search for supplies in the hotel. However, Zhao Mimi and the others naturally would not let those people enter the hotel. Li Xiaoluo left 3 crossbows for them, and they used the crossbows to shoot a few arrows at the enemy's boat. Then Zhao Mimi asked all the women in the hotel to wear security uniforms or some men's clothes, pretending that their hotel was all men, and they had weapons and strong strength. The people in the small boat were really frightened, and then they turned around and returned to the big boat. However, the big ship did not leave immediately. Instead, a man shouted at Zhao Mimi and the others with a loudspeaker. It probably means that they are a large fleet with many ships. They are in need of manpower right now. As long as people with the ability to work go to their place, there will be no shortage of food, drink and women. They hope that Zhao Mimi and the others in the hotel can bring all the supplies and join them. Zhao Mimi and the others sent a woman with a loud voice to reply to the people on the ship, saying that they needed time to think about it. Zhao Mimi didn't know the strength of that big ship, so she wouldn't refuse forcefully. They just needed to delay and wait for Mr. Lee to come. As for choosing to join the forces mentioned by that big ship, Zhao Mimi and the others had never thought about it. After all, they pretended to be a team of men, so the people on the big ship behaved very boldly and talked about a lot of the benefits of their side. Naturally, there were many female slaves there, and they would live a good life after joining them so let alone Zhao Mimi and the others, they already regard themselves as Li Xiaoluo's people. Even if they were not, they would not join them, they are not real men. After they go there, they will be beaten by meat buns. As for the people on the big ship, they didn't know whether they really believed what Zhao Mimi and the others said, or whether they didn't want to fight directly with Zhao Mimi and the others. They wanted to stabilize Zhao Mimi and the others first, and then go back to find helpers. In short, they agreed with Zhao Mimi's consideration, and gave Zhao Mimi and the others one day to think about it, and they would come back tomorrow. Zhao Mimi knew in her heart that when they came again tomorrow, more people would definitely come. Then, they will definitely be more prepared. If they don't agree tomorrow, those people will definitely come hard. After all, there is no truth to be said after the apocalypse, but as long as those people don't attack them immediately, Zhao Mimi and the others won't be afraid. They also have a backstage. After Li Xiaoluo understood the situation, he drove the speedboat towards the hotel where Zhao Mimi was staying at this time. Zhao Mimi and others in the hotel were already on high alert, but now they heard the sound of the ship again, and all the women suddenly became nervous again. But when they saw Li Xiaoluo on the speedboat, all the women cheered. Their backstage was finally here. After meeting Li Xiaoluo, all women felt at ease. Even if the enemy has a big ship, even if the enemy team has a large number of people, as long as Li Xiaoluo is there, it can still give the women in the hotel a complete sense of security. It seems that as long as Li Xiaoluo is around, any enemy is just a paper tiger after all. The shock that Li Xiaoluo gave them last time was so great that many women still dream about it now. Li Xiaoluo is a person with superpowers, which is beyond their understanding. What else can't be solved? Mr. Li, you are here. As soon as Li Xiaoluo's speedboat approached the hotel, Zhao Mimi and Guliarina, several women appointed by Li Xiaoluo as managers, hurried to the window to greet them. The other women also had smiles on their faces, and they were so enthusiastic. Zhou Zhuan, who came with Li Xiaoluo, looked at the hotel in front of her curiously. It can be seen that this hotel before the end of time was quite large and luxurious, but now, this is a building that is mostly submerged in water, without even a little bit of land. It's really far worse than their Taoyuan leader, but there is no way. She is sent to the frontier now. She can only perform well here, and then try to get her back to Taoyuan. Li Xiaoluo and Zhou Zhuan entered the hotel from the speedboat. Of course, the speedboat was still taken into the system space by Li Xiaoluo, and he would not stop on the water. Zhao Mimi quickly told Li Xiaoluo what happened before in detail. She was worried that Li Xiaoluo didn't see the big ship when he came over, and thought they were lying to him. It would be bad if you were misunderstood. In fact, Li Xiaoluo already knew everything, but he did not stop Zhao Mimi from saying it again, and he had no expression when listening. Zhao Mimi and others suddenly became a little nervous. Mr. Li couldn't really believe that Wei Ning and the others were lying to him. Right, they are also very helpless. Li Xiaoluo came a little late, and the big ship just left. They couldn't let the ship wait to leave. How did Zhao Mimi and the others know that Li Xiaoluo's expressionless face was just to maintain his image as a superior person? After all, he is also their master, so he can't just smile all the time. After Zhao Mimi finished speaking, Li Xiaoluo just nodded lightly, indicating that he understood. Then Li Xiaoluo introduced Zhou Zhuan to Zhao Mimi and others, and asked Zhou Zhuan to be responsible for managing the food distribution of this stronghold in the future. Zhou Zhuan can be regarded as a manager at the same level as Zhao Mimi and others. Although Zhou Zhuan was punished by Li Xiaoluo and sent to this stronghold, she did not make any big mistakes. The trouble caused by Liu Yan and others actually had nothing to do with her, but now that something has happened, someone must take responsibility so that others in the future can learn from it. So Zhou Zhuan can only say that she was just unlucky. She met Liu Yan and those stupid women, and was caught by Li Xiaoluo like a typical example. But Zhou Zhuan is more like a dispatch than a dispatch, because the stronghold here just needs someone to come and watch. Not only was it punished, but it also happened to have someone coming to work at the stronghold, so it was like killing two birds with one stone. So after Zhou Zhuan came here, Li Xiaoluo naturally didn't ask her to come here as a colleague. It was brought here to supervise on behalf of Taoyuan. After hearing the Lord's arrangements for her, Zhou Zhuan felt a lot better. After all, she is still the manager here, so she will have more opportunities to perform, so that she can have a chance to go back early. Zhao Mimi and the others are very enthusiastic about Zhou Zhuan. After all, in Zhao Mimi's view, Zhou Zhuan is just like the imperial envoy sent by Li Xiaoluo to supervise them. Of course they know how to deal with it. Moreover, their future life may not be so easy, but they felt it was normal. As long as Li Xiaoluo didn't abandon them, they would be very happy. Chapter 259 Promote the Beauty of Taoyuan Collar. The reason why Xialuo is particularly concerned about whether there are big ships appearing nearby is not just because he needs ships, supplies and women with supernatural talents for Xialuo. These are actually secondary. Xialuo's main purpose is to take revenge in a previous life. After a flood struck, a fleet of ships suddenly appeared out of nowhere and plundered everything wherever they go. It's like geese plucking their feathers, and everything will be plundered, includes population. If they meet a stronger person or team, they will promise temptations such as food and women, and then trick the survivors into joining their fleet. As long as the survivors don't want to fight them, they must follow them. Then, the so-called generous treatment they mentioned was just an excuse for them to deceive survivors. After the survivors are deceived into that fleet, what awaits the survivors will be enslavement. The men will become slaves doing hard work, and the women will become tools for them to vent their sexual desires and reproduce. But what disgusted Xialuo was that those who lured the survivors to the ship were Chinese, but the people in charge of the fleet were all foreigners. In that fleet, the survivors will be divided into 3, 6 or 9 grades, and the survivors at the bottom are basically Chinese and women, living a life worse than death. Xialuo was also deceived into that fleet in his previous life, but Xialuo was lucky. When he was forced to be cannon fodder, the fleet suddenly encountered strong winds, and he and some people took the opportunity to jump into the water and escape. Otherwise, Xialuo might have been tortured to death a long time ago on that fleet, and would not have been able to experience what happened next, and would not have known that there would be people with superpowers appearing later. Although Xialuo's hatred for that fleet was not as deep as that of Zhou Junji and Su Xiu, he could still remember it. That's why Xialuo specifically asked Zhao Mimi and the others to pay attention to the situation, now that he knew that the people from the fleet would come tomorrow and it was already getting late today. Xialuo naturally had no intention of driving the speedboat out to look for them. He planned to stay in the hotel today and wait for them to deliver it to his door tomorrow. When they heard that Xialuo would stay in the hotel tonight, many women had a strange look in their eyes. Zhao Mimi quickly arranged for some women to clean up Xialuo's house. If Xialuo wanted to live here, she would naturally pack up the largest and best presidential suite and give it to him. Then Zhao Mimi, Gulai Rina and Qin Xianglin basically all surrounded Zhou Zhuan. He said that he wanted to take Zhou Zhuan to familiarize himself with the situation of this stronghold. For example, what happened here before, how many women are there now, what is the age distribution of the women, and how much food Xialuo left for the stronghold. From now on, Zhou Zhuan will not only be responsible for managing the food, but also has the right to supervise all the affairs of this stronghold. Who told her to come from the headquarters? Of course, Zhao Mimi and the others said they were taking Zhou Zhuan to understand the situation, but they would also ask Zhou Zhuan some questions from time to time, such as the situation over there in Taoyuan. This is another reason why they all surround Zhou Zhuan and are so enthusiastic about Zhou Zhuan ever since Xialuo mentioned Taoyuan territory to them. They were all very curious about what it was like there. After all, only when they understand clearly can they be motivated to work hard and strive to live in that paradise. Faced with everyone asking about Taoyuan Ling intentionally or unintentionally, Zhou Zhuan was also very cooperative, like a big mouth, inadvertently telling her life in Taoyuan Ling. Our Taoyuan territory currently has a small territory. It mainly consists of 10 luxury villas, all with large gardens, and there is also a mountain in the back. Our territory currently has a small population, less than 100 people. But we have our own security team. They are all female soldiers. Everyone has a gun. The skills and marksmanship of the female soldiers are no worse than those of the female special forces before the apocalypse. Any thugs who want to invade our Taoyuan territory are now basically there is no need for the Lord to personally take action. In short, Taoyuan territory is very safe now, and don't look at our Taoyuan primary school, but we have our own hospital and pharmacy, doctors and nurses. Our territory also has water and electricity, a library, an entertainment room, a chess and card room, etc. Wait, now we are still working on a farm to grow our own land. As for food, the food treatment for newcomers will be slightly different when they first join Taoyuan. However, as long as they pass the assessment and become an official Taoyuan leader, they will basically have fish and meat every day, and they can also receive fruit once a week. Life is no better than before the end. How much difference after all? I was just an ordinary woman before the end, and my life was just ordinary. But you are all celebrities and rich people before the end, so the food will definitely not be comparable. But anyway, I was very contented in Taoyuan, because I didn't have to worry about food and drink, and I wasn't as stressed as before the end. The reason why Zhou Zhuan dared to say anything about Tao Yuanling was because Li Xiaoluo had already told her about it, and there was nothing she could not say. Even Li Xiaoluo asked her to come over, not only to supervise the operation of this stronghold, but also to inadvertently promote Tao Yuanling more, let the women in the stronghold yearn to go to Taoyuan. After all, one of the functions of Li Xiaoluo's setting up of these strongholds is to recruit talents, but for those who will join Taoyuan later in the future, Li Xiaoluo did not want to force them to join. After all, the twisted melon is not sweet, and they don't know how to cherish it, just like the women in the territory, Liu Yan, who jumped out to protest today. Because it was too easy for them to join the Taoyuan territory, that's why they want more treatment and are dissatisfied. From now on, Li Xiaoluo wants everyone in the stronghold to know how good Taoyuan is, but he also wants them to know that it is very difficult and not easy to join the Taoyuan collar. For example, just like the capital before the end of the world, it is very difficult for outsiders to settle down, and many people may have to work hard for a long time. The same goes for joining Taoyuanling in the future. Joining is not something you can do casually. It also requires hard work. Only in this way can the women who join the Taoyuan collar in the future become more loyal, and they can cherish their identity as Taoyuan people even more. But if you want everyone to be eager to go to Taoyuan and be willing to work hard to get a spot at all costs, then naturally you need to let them know more about Taoyuan. However, from the constant exclamations from the women surrounding Zhou Zhuan, it can be seen that Zhou Zhuan's publicity effect is very good. All women are already yearning for Taoyuan collar. After all, in a water world like this, Taoyuan territory still has land, so there is no need to worry about being flooded. There are also female soldiers in Taoyuan, and everyone has a gun. Coupled with the fact that Li Xiaoluo, a person with special abilities, is here, the sense of security is absolutely overwhelming. In addition, that Taoyuan collar can still eat and drink without worries. If other people say this after the end of the world, they may still remain pessimistic, wondering if they were deceived, but they have all seen Li Xiaoluo's luxury with their own eyes. A random meal consists of more than 10 dishes, and they are delicacies that should not appear at all in the apocalypse, so no one doubts that Taoyuanling has enough food. Chapter 260. Should I cover my eyes? The presidential suite for Charlotte Li was quickly tidied up. With the efforts of more than a dozen women, the room was cleaned and tidied up even more neatly than before the apocalypse. Because all the women are very happy and excited that Li Xiaoluo can stay here tonight, they are happy, of course, because with Li Xiaoluo here, they don't have to worry about the big ship from before coming to attack them again, and they can sleep peacefully at night. As for excitement, after hearing everything about Taoyuanling from Zhou Zhuan, all the women in the hotel were even more yearning for that Taoyuanling. However, if they take the normal route, no one knows when they will be favored by Li Xiaoluo and then allowed to live there in Taoyuan, so some women have some little ideas, hoping to take shortcuts, and the fastest shortcut is naturally the man Li Xiaoluo. As long as they are attracted by Li Xiaoluo and become his women, they will naturally be able to live in Taoyuan. Therefore, when many women are cleaning Li Xiaoluo's room, they will pass by Li Xiaoluo intentionally or unintentionally, and then accidentally light up a little bit to show off their voluptuous figures. It's a pity that although Li Xiaoluo occasionally took a look at him, he didn't have any big reaction after the room was tidied up. Li Xiaoluo had no intention of leaving any woman behind. This makes many women a little disappointed. If they hadn't heard from Supervisor Zhou Zhuan that Mr. Li had more than one woman in Taoyuan, they would have suspected that Mr. Li had a physical disorder. They have already made it obvious. Why doesn't Mr. Li act impulsively? There is nothing special to do today. And Li Xiaoluo has no plans to go out again. Li Xiaoluo plans to take a good rest in the room so that he will be energetic enough to deal with the enemy tomorrow. After stripping down to only his underpants, Li Xiaoluo lay down on the big bed in the hotel. Not to mention, the big bed in a 5-star hotel was really no worse than the big bed in the villa, but Li Xiaoluo, who was lying on the bed, originally wanted to have a good sleep, but some past life experiences came to his mind from time to time, and he really couldn't sleep for a while. Speaking of which, because of the harm he suffered in his previous life, Li Xiaoluo decided not to be the Holy Mother in this life, and became selfish and decisive in killing. In the words of Xiao, I would rather let the world betray me than let the world betray me. However, deep in Li Xiaoluo's memory, what he encountered in his previous life was not all hurt and betrayal. There were also people who helped him, and the people who helped him were the people on that fleet. As I said before, the people in charge of this fleet that searches and arrests people everywhere are actually not Chinese, but some foreigners. The people who were caught in that fleet were divided into 3, 6 or 9 grades. The Chinese are the lowest slaves above and will be oppressed and bullied by all foreign races, but no matter when, especially when resisting foreign bullying, although there will be some people who are traitors and lackeys, but there will also be many people who will no longer be selfish and kill each other. Instead, they will unite to help their companions, and then fight against the enemy together. At that time, after Li Xiaoluo was tricked onto the ship, he was helped to survive, and then some people had the chance to escape. In this life, Li Xiaoluo didn't want to escape. He wanted to kill all the thugs in that fleet, let them go to China's territory, and be arrogant. By the way, he rescued those Chinese people who were bullied, and then repaid those who helped him in his previous life. In the last life, Li Xiaoluo was incapable and couldn't help them much. In this life, he has to fulfill one of his wishes no matter what. After thinking about it, Li Xiaoluo fell asleep in a daze. When Li Xiaoluo woke up again, it was already past 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Li Xiaoluo got up and sat shirtless on the sofa in the hotel playing with her mobile phone. There are at least tens of thousands of mobile phones in Li Xiaoluo's system space, all of which are of the highest configuration, and each mobile phone is fully charged. And a lot of resources are also downloaded inside. This resource also includes the resource that everyone is thinking about. After all, there are so many women in Li Xiaoluo, and a good body alone is not enough. Li Xiaoluo still needs to learn more 108 moves when he has time. Boom. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Come in. Li Xiaoluo didn't pay attention and said casually. Then, the door to Li Xiaoluo's room was pushed open, and Guli's Hina ran in from outside the door. But when she saw Li Xiaoluo, who was shirtless and muscular, Gulirina's face suddenly turned red. Why isn't Mr. Li wearing any clothes? Should I cover my eyes? And I didn't expect that Mr. Li has such a good figure. I really didn't notice it when I was wearing clothes. While her face was blushing, all kinds of random thoughts popped up in Gulirina's mind uncontrollably. Seeing that there was no movement after Gulirina came in, Li Xiaoluo put away the mobile phone in his hand, and then looked at Gulirina. I saw Gulirina's face was flushed. She was already very good looking, but now she was even more charming and charming. Moreover, she was the actress that she liked before the end, and Li Xiaoluo also liked her more and more the more she watched her. Guli's Hina, what do you want from me? You didn't come in specially to admire my body, did you? I didn't. Mr. Li, don't talk nonsense. Gulirina quickly looked away from Li Xiaoluo, and then remembered the serious business of coming in. Mr. Li, it's like this. Everyone hasn't had a bath for a long time. It was too cold before, so it was okay, but now the weather is getting hotter, so everyone wants to take a bath in the water. Taking a bath? There is water outside now. If you want to take a bath, just jump in and wash yourself. Why are you asking me? You want me to help you wash it with my own hands? I don't know why, but Li Xiaoluo feels that she really likes teasing Gulirina. He seems to be more relaxed in front of her and speaks more casually. Hearing Li Xiaoluo's words, Gulirina waved her hands quickly. No, they just asked me to ask if the water outside is clean and can we go down to take a bath in the water? And if there are any monsters. Everyone feels that the water outside is deep and dark, and they feel a little scared. Li Xiaoluo looked at her. Then what? If you are afraid, don't wash it. Why do they ask you to come to me for this matter? I can still, but... Before Li Xiaoluo finished speaking, he suddenly changed his tone and said, so, you want me to wash with you? Speaking of this, Li Xiaoluo seemed to be in high spirits, mainly because he felt that he had been in the room for too long and it was time to go outside for some fresh air. Chapter 261. This is simply not the speed a human should have. She put on her clothes and followed Gulirina out of the room. A group of women had gathered outside, obviously waiting for Li Xiaoluo. Moreover, every woman is wrapped in a white bath towel. After all, this used to be a hotel. There may not be much else, but there are still a lot of bath towels and other supplies. Looking at this situation, all women are ready. As a woman, it's normal to want to be clean, but are you so impatient? Moreover, dozens of women were standing in front of him wearing bath towels. From time to time, some snow-white details caught Li Xiaoluo's eyes. It really tested Li Xiaoluo's determination. Mr. Li, is there no danger in the water? Can we go down and take a bath? Zhao Mimi walked over, also wrapped in a bath towel. Although she didn't intentionally reveal a large part of the scenery like some women, the towel was stretched out high, and her strong capital could still be seen coupled with that white neck, delicate and beautiful face, and that mature and charming style. Her attractiveness is definitely no less than that of Gulagina, of course. In addition to Xiaomimi and Gularina, there are also some beautiful women in this group of women with more prominent figures, and they are bolder than Xiaomimi and others. The bath towel around me seemed ready to fall off at any moment. Li Xiaoluo said seriously, as long as you don't drown yourself, there is no other danger in the water. Moreover, the weather has just picked up not long ago, and there are not too many rotten substances in the water. You can wash it if you want. But after a period of time, it is better to bathe directly in the water as little as possible, let alone drink the water outside. Zhao Mimi smiled sweetly. I know, thank you Mr. Li for informing me, then we can take a quick shower today. At this time, another mature and charming woman also mustered up the courage to look at Li Xiaoluo with a smile. Mr. Li, can you not go back to the room first? Otherwise we will still be a little scared. Good. Guy, look at this woman's skin, really whiter than pure milk, and her bath towel seems to be smaller than others. Basically, her long white legs are exposed, but her chest is not too big. Even though she has tried very hard to squeeze out a deep groove, it does not feel unfathomable. And what does this woman mean? Are you just telling yourself not to go back to the room and not inviting yourself to take a bath together? You can do whatever you want. I'll go for a swim first. Li Xiaoluo didn't care about their women's troubles. He took off his coat 3 times, and then jumped directly into the water. Although Li Xiaoluo was very fast, most women still saw Li Xiaoluo's figure clearly. Many women had far greater reactions than Gularina, and their saliva almost flowed down. I didn't expect Mr. Li to have such a good figure. I will definitely be lucky to be his woman. This made many girls' little thoughts even stronger, so much so that they almost went up and knocked down Li Xiaoluo. I'm in the water too. Fortunately, Mr. Li is here today. I have to wash myself well. Wait for me. Who will throw down the shampoo and shower gel then? Oh, I'm not very good at swimming. What should I do? During the commotion, almost all the women took off their bath towels, and then their plump and thin bodies were revealed. Li Xiaoluo inadvertently glanced upward in the water, only to feel that it was covered with white flowers and her plump buttocks were swaying everywhere. It was so beautiful. Of course, all women are still wearing underwear. They are not so open and directly naked. However, some women are really economical on the fabrics of their underwear. In order to make money, those profiteers before the end of the world saved too much fabric. Li Xiaoluo was so hurt that he quickly recited the meditation mantra several times. However, among the women, Xiaomimi and Gularina are still the best in terms of figure and appearance. They are tall, fair-skinned, and even more beautiful than wearing clothes. Of course, Li Xiaoluo just wanted to appreciate it. He really came to swim. After all, we have to deal with that fleet then, and if something unexpected happens then, we might have to fight in the water. So now is the time to get in the water and get familiar with it. Speaking of which, although Li Xiaoluo could swim before, his swimming ability was only average due to physical limitations, but since his body was strengthened, Li Xiaoluo has not tried swimming again. This time he just wants to see his strength in the water. Just do it when you think of it. Li Xiaoluo exerts his body strength, and immediately shoots out like an arrow from the string. Then Li Xiaoluo moves his arms back and forth, and swims forward like lightning in a freestyle style. Originally, Li Xiaoluo was the focus of many women's attention. Many women were still secretly looking at Li Xiaoluo after entering the water. Some people even thought that this good opportunity must not be wasted. They should forget that they can swim and pretend to drown when the time comes. As long as Mr. Li comes to the rescue, they will hold Mr. Li's body, and when the time comes, they may be fascinated by him under the skin-to-skin contact. But before their idea could be implemented, they saw Li Xiaoluo swimming forward, and then the speed became faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, they almost lost sight of Li Xiaoluo. Suddenly, all the women opened their mouths, because Li Xiaoluo's speed is so fast. Even those world swimming champions before the end of the world may not be able to catch up. It's simply not the speed that humans should have. Is this the strength of superpowers? It took Li Xiaoluo a few minutes to swim at least a few kilometers away. This feeling of going all out made Li Xiaoluo feel very relaxed, and Li Xiaoluo himself knew that he must have been swimming very fast just now, even compared to the speed of a speedboat. I'm afraid it's almost the same. Li Xiaoluo even thinks that she is pretty awesome. Feeling that he was almost done swimming, Li Xiaoluo turned around and swam back quickly. After swimming such a long distance back and forth quickly, Li Xiaoluo's physical strength finally reached its limit. When Li Xiaoluo returned to the hotel, he naturally received the attention of countless eyes. What Li Xiaoluo saw before his eyes was also a piece of snow-white scenery. Even though some of the scenery was hidden in the water was relatively clear, so he could actually see it clearly. Li Xiaoluo felt that he had exhausted a lot of energy just now, so he had better leave this place of right and wrong first. Now even if a beautiful woman throws herself into his arms, Li Xiaoluo might not be able to handle it. Seeing Li Xiaoluo finish washing and going upstairs so quickly, many women looked disappointed. What a pity. After Li Xiaoluo went upstairs, he saw that Zhao Mimi was already upstairs. She is quite fast. Mr. Li, you were swimming too fast just now. You were really amazing. After seeing Li Xiaoluo, Zhao Mimi's eyes were filled with admiration. Fortunately, swimming is not my strong point. I am not very good at swimming skills. Otherwise, I just swam back and forth for a few kilometers, and my hands and feet would feel a little tired. Okay, Li Xiaoluo can hold the cup this time. Zhao Mimi smiled. Mr. Li, you may be swimming too fast and causing excessive exercise. Why don't you go back to your room and I'll press your buttons for you. Chapter 262 Sweet. Li Xiaoluo naturally wouldn't refuse Zhao Mimi's ill intentions. Zhao Mimi didn't hesitate, but it was still a little inconvenient for her to wear a bath towel, so she said she would go back to the room and change clothes first. Li Xiaoluo actually doesn't mind. It's almost night anyway, so everyone can order whatever they want, but since Zhao Mimi wanted to, Li Xiaoluo didn't stop her. Zhao Mimi was still very fast, and it didn't take long for her to arrive at Li Xiaoluo's room. Seeing that Zhao Mimi had changed into a dress similar to Chong Sam, Li Xiaoluo couldn't help but click her tongue. It really shows off your figure. From Li Xiaoluo's point of view, Zhao Mimi who walked into the room was really plump breasts and fat buttocks, with curvaceous curves, and she was so beautiful with every frown and smile. At this moment, Zhao Mimi is even more attractive than when she was just wrapped in a bath towel. Is it true that you are dressed so formally and beautifully this late in the evening? Isn't that intentional? To be honest, Li Xiaoluo had already received a lot of stimulation just now. Looking at this mature and charming beauty, how could he not be moved? After all, Zhao Mimi is really beautiful at this time, with good skin and a voluptuous figure. What man wouldn't be tempted? Even for experienced drivers like Li Xiaoluo, it is the same. After all, people don't often say that the fragrance of wildflowers is nowhere to be found in domestic flowers. Although there are few domestic flowers in Li Xiaoluo's house, they are actually no worse than Zhao Mimi. Even like Shen Miao, she is younger and may be better in appearance. However, Zhao Mimi in this world is more beautiful. Coupled with her identity, it can be regarded as a psychological bonus for Li Xiaoluo, who liked her more before the end. So after all calculations, Zhao Mimi is evenly matched with Shen Miao. They are all first-class beauties. When she saw Li Xiaoluo's eyes, a hint of shyness flashed across Zhao Mimi's face, but she pretended not to see it. Then he walked up to Li Xiaoluo while swaying his buttocks, and said in a respectful tone, Mr. Li, are you lying on the bed or on the sofa? Let me massage your muscles for you. Li Xiaoluo lay down directly on the sofa. I'm too lazy to move, just press it here for me, okay? Zhao Mimi responded softly. Then he leaned over and massaged Li Xiaoluo's muscles with his soft hands. The technique was quite good, and there was a nice aroma coming over him after enjoying it for a while. Li Xiaoluo's physical fatigue was indeed relieved a lot. If you give me a massage, I won't feel wronged. Mr. Li, you saved our lives. It's what I should do to help you share your worries, so why should I feel wronged? I've never performed massage on others, and my technique may not be very good. Don't mind that. Of course I don't mind, and your technique is also very good. I'm not tired at all now, and I'm full of energy. After saying that, Li Charlotte put her hands on those wide and smooth legs. Zhao Mimi's face suddenly turned red. She quickly glanced at the door of the room with a slightly panicked look, and exclaimed in a low voice, Mr. Li, don't be like this. If someone comes in, they will see it. Li Xiaoluo stood up, then turned around and pressed Zhao Mimi under him. You come to give me a massage this late at night, alone, but you already know what will happen, right? And when you came in just now, I saw that you had locked the door. Now even if someone wants to disturb us, they can't come in. Feeling Li Xiaoluo's breath, Zhao Mimi blushed and said nothing, but slowly closed her eyes. The next morning, Zhao Mimi opened her eyes lazily, and immediately felt as if her body was falling apart. Although Li Xiaoluo killed so many people before, and from the speed of his swimming yesterday, It can be seen that this man is very powerful, but Zhao Mimi felt that she still underestimated him, so last night, she paid a heavy price, but it's really painful and happy. Zhao Mimi's actions when she woke up obviously affected Li Xiaoluo soon. Li Xiaoluo also opened his eyes. "You're awake?" Zhao Mimi opened her little mouth slightly and said in a greasy voice. Li Xiaoluo nodded and looked at Zhao Mimi without saying anything. That fair skin shows off the perfect figure beautifully. Moreover, her charming temperament at this time made her look even more mysterious and beautiful. There were many famous actresses before the end of the world, some more beautiful than her, but she was definitely the one that many men had fantasized about. Zhao Mimi felt a little embarrassed and a little scared by Li Xiaoluo's eyes, but at the same time, I was also a little happy in my heart. After all, women only look good to those who please themselves, and now she has given everything. I was very satisfied last night. Is there anything you want? Li Xiaoluo was indeed quite satisfied last night, both physically and psychologically. After all, he truly experienced a pre-apocalyptic fantasy scene. Can you not be happy? If it were you, you would be happy too. Moreover, Zhao Mimi is indeed naturally charming, which makes Li Xiaoluo experience double happiness. Zhao Mimi bit her seductive lips and said pitifully, "I don't want anything. I just want to be by your side. I'm satisfied with just one bite." A bite to eat? I don't know why. Zhao Mimi's words made Li Xiaoluo subconsciously look at her pink lips. Really, it's a bite to eat? You can eat it in one bite. Li Xiaoluo stroked Zhao Mimi's smooth and white back with his big hands, and promised, "After I finish dealing with the big ship, you can follow me to Taoyuan to get it." Zhao Mimi showed joy on her face and nodded heavily. Yes, her efforts were finally not in vain. Zhao Mimi was able to become a boss, so her thinking was naturally very mature. After all the men in the hotel turned black, she knew that if she wanted to survive in this apocalypse, a woman like her must find a strong supporter, otherwise, they will either starve to death or become the playthings of thugs sooner or later. So relatively speaking, Li Xiaoluo is reasonable and very powerful, so it is naturally her best destination. Moreover, during the evening shower show last night, I am afraid that too many women wanted to seduce Li Xiaoluo. This is why Zhao Mimi also took the initiative yesterday, taking the initiative to hold Li Xiaoluo and being happy for a while. Zhao Mimi showed a trace of hesitation on her face, but she still whispered, Can I take Xialuo to Taoyuan to receive her?" For Xialuo, although she is only her employee in name, their relationship is very good. Zhao Mimi really wants Xialuo to leave here and live in a safer Taoyuan, so even though it might make Li Xiaoluo unhappy and think she didn't know how to advance or retreat, Zhao Mimi still said it. Chapter 263. The big ship finally arrived. Li Xiaoluo deliberately pretended to have a calm face, as if he was thinking. Zhao Mimi suddenly became nervous. In fact, in Zhao Mimi's heart, although she already has the closest relationship with Li Xiaoluo, she still has more respect for Li Xiaoluo. After all, whether it was the killings Li Xiaoluo committed in this hotel or what she heard from Zhou Zhuan about Li Xiaoluo's handling style, it can be seen that Li Xiaoluo is a very domineering dictator. No one can disobey his orders, let alone betrayal and the like. In fact, Zhao Mimi herself is very accepting of these. After all, she has read a lot of novels about domineering CEOs before the end of the world, and she used to be a domineering female boss herself. Which is what she said in the company. What's more, it's still the end of the world when order has collapsed. What's wrong with capable people being more domineering? Therefore, if Li Xiaoluo really refuses, although Zhao Mimi will be disappointed, she will not blame Li Xiaoluo in her heart. But after Li Xiaoluo thought for a while, he quickly smiled. "Are you going to take Xialuo alone to Taoyuan?" "Let's do this. I will give you 3 more places in addition to Xialuo and Qin Xianglan. You can pick someone who has a good relationship with you and bring them to Taoyuan when the time comes. In this way, they will all be grateful to you. Once you go to Taoyuan, you will be my team. When the time comes, I will arrange for you to take charge of some things in Taoyuan, and you will also have your own manpower to use." "Really?" Zhao Mimi's voice was soft and her face was full of joy. She did not expect that Li Xiaoluo would give such an answer, not only asking her to take Xialuo to Taoyuan to receive it, but also asking her to bring 2 more people. Li Xiaoluo also said it very straightforwardly. The 3 people Zhao Mimi brought there will naturally be grateful to Zhao Mimi, and they will be able to help her in Taoyuan when the time comes. In this way, Zhao Mimi would not be unfamiliar with the place after going to Taoyuan, and she would not even have a confidant. Zhao Mimi heard from Zhou Zhuan that although there were not many people in Taoyuan leader, Those women who joined Taoyuan first had their own small circle and people they relied on. When she comes over, even though she is Li Xiaoluo's woman, the people below will respect her, but she will definitely not get used to it at first. It would be best if she could bring a few people she is familiar with. Thank you, you are so kind, Zhao Mimi said sweetly as she snuggled into Li Xiaoluo's arms. At this moment, she was really happy, because she can feel how good Li Xiaoluo is to her. System. Prompt. Zhao Mimi's affection for the host has deepened, her friendliness is +5, and her current friendliness towards the host is 86. Last night, when Li Xiaoluo broke through the fortress, Zhao Mimi's friendship level had already reached 80, and now it has reached 86, which is very high, but it's a pity that Zhao Mimi is not a person with special powers. In addition, the reason why Li Xiaoluo allowed Zhao Mimi to pick 3 people from here to take them to Taoyuan, actually there are 2 main reasons. The first reason is that although Li Xiaoluo wants Gulai Rina and Qin Xianglan to train at this stronghold, so that they can know how good Taoyuan is when they go to Taoyuan in the future. However, Li Xiaoluo didn't want them to be harmed, because these women with supernatural talents will be the backbone of Taoyuan leader and the mainstay of Taoyuan leader in the future. Whether Li Xiaoluo can continue to lie down in the future will basically depend on them. So now that this stronghold is no longer safe, there is no need for Li Xiaoluo to let them stay here anymore. They should take them back to Taoyuan. As long as they stay within Taoyuan territory, Li Xiaoluo can at least guarantee that they will not die easily before awakening their powers. So in fact, before Li Xiaoluo came here this time, he had already planned to bring Gulai Rina and Qin Xianglan back to Taoyuan, but now he used Zhao Mimi as an excuse to make Zhao Mimi the good person. The second reason is that Zhao Mimi is now Li Xiaoluo's woman. Although Li Xiaoluo is selfish or ruthless towards outsiders, but he also has a tender side towards his woman. Just like Shen Miao, Li Xiaoluo gave her unlimited trust and rights. Even her sisters Shen Yanyan and Li Xiaoluo gave her a lot of love. For example, Zhao Xiaolu, if it weren't for Shen Yanyan's relationship, she might be the most ordinary member of the logistics department now. How could she live a comfortable life in villain number 1? Even within the entire Taoyuan territory, everyone would give her a face and be very polite to her. Li Xiaoluo. This is a Wu de Wu. Zhao Mimi, who was moved by Li Xiaoluo, took the initiative to let Li Xiaoluo feel the affectionate love again early in the morning. At 3 o'clock in the morning, Li Xiaoluo and Zhao Mimi finally came out of the presidential suite. Suddenly, all the women in the hotel looked at these 2 people, especially when they see the charming Zhao Mimi. Many women go crazy with envy. It's a pity that he was famous before the end of the world and is now the manager of this stronghold. They just have so many advantages over them and can get close to Mr. Li at any time. Even if they have ideas, they have no way out. While waiting for dinner, the girls became even more envious and jealous of Zhao Mimi, because Zhao Mimi naturally ate with Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo brought out a lot of nourishing food to help Zhao Mimi take good care of her body and replenish her strength. After breakfast, Li Xiaoluo asked Zhao Mimi to choose 3 candidates to follow to Taoyuan. Of course, in fact, Gulai Rina and Qin Xianglan have already been appointed by Li Xiaoluo, and Zhao Mimi only has 1 spot left to make the decision. But for Zhao Mimi, she would be very satisfied if Li Xiaoluo allowed her to take Gulai Rina with her, let alone let her take 3 people with her. And when Zhao Mimi went down and announced that she was going to choose 3 people to follow to Taoyuan leader, all the women in the hotel were excited. Is this the benefit of being a Charlotte Li woman? We have safety, food, and rights, which is so enviable, and many women also regret it. If they had known that they would show off more in front of Zhao Mimi, now they might have a quota for themselves. Now, Guli's Hina will definitely have a quota, and the remaining 2 quotas may not have much to do with them. Li Xiaoluo looked at the group of women fawning over Zhao Mimi. He was also letting the women in the entire stronghold see that their efforts would be rewarded. Although Li Xiaoluo may not like them, it would be nice to work hard and live in Taoyuan, at least in Zhao Mimi. They also hope. At 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the big ship that Li Xiaoluo had been waiting for finally arrived. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264. Why has the attitude changed so much? Outside the Huashan Hotel at Stronghold Number 1, a 30 or 40 meter passenger ship was heading towards the hotel where Li Xiaoluo was staying. The hull of the big ship was white, but the words survivor were written on the hull in red paint obviously. This is the new name of this big ship after the end of the world. In fact, a boat of 30 to 40 meters can carry about 200 to 300 people. Although it is not a big boat, it is not small, especially the city where Xialuo is located was not close to the sea before and was an inland city. So when a flood strikes, the survivors use either homemade rafts or large drift bottles to travel as for boats, let alone big boats. Even small wooden boats are rarely seen. Although the speedboat driven by Xialuo was not big, he was definitely the most handsome guy around here. This is why when Xialuo passed by Liu Filong's group the day before yesterday, Liu Filong's people regarded him as a fat sheep. As the saying goes, if you want to get rich, build roads first, but there is another prerequisite. After the roads are repaired, there must be transportation, only then can we be rich. But now that there is a water world outside, there is no need to build roads. As long as there is transportation, they can go out and make a fortune. Therefore, when Liu Filong and the others heard that Xialuo was driving a speedboat, their eyes immediately gleamed. They just thought about trying to steal Xialuo's speedboat, but who knew that in the end they would end up being wiped out. So now this 30 or 40 meter large ship appears. It is definitely a very eye-catching giant in this area. Charlotte's speedboat can only be reduced to a little kid in front of it. Fortunately, Xialuo's speedboat never docked outside. He always carried it with him in the system space. There is no need to compare with others. Hello. To the survivors of the hotel, we are the people who came here once yesterday, and now we are here again as agreed. You can come out, don't worry, we are here to take you to a good place, where there are many survivors, and everyone will help each other, and we will be able to survive this disaster together. The survivor outside stopped 100 or 200 meters away from the hotel. Then, they did not immediately send a boat over like yesterday. Instead, someone stood on the boat with a loudspeaker and shouted directly towards the hotel. With Xialuo here today, naturally none of the women in the hotel are as panicked as they were yesterday. Instead, everyone gathered around the window, looking at the big ship outside as if watching the excitement. This is the reason why they all want to follow Xialuo. After all, women are inherently insecure, especially in the apocalypse, but they have all seen what Charlotte is capable of. It can be said that as long as Charlotte is here, they don't have to worry about any thugs at all. Zhao Mimi also followed Xialuo. She looked at the survivors outside and said, it was the same boat yesterday, but there seemed to be more people on their boat today than yesterday. Xialuo smiled. It's normal to have more people than yesterday. The thugs after the apocalypse are also afraid of death, and they will even cherish their lives. They encountered a tough situation here yesterday, so they will definitely come prepared today. If they can't reach an agreement with us, then they will definitely use violence. Zhao Mimi said, then what should we do now? Should we reply to them? Zhao Mimi knew that Xialuo planned to deal with those people outside, but she didn't know exactly what Xialuo wanted to do. Xialuo nodded, and then gave a loudspeaker to Zhao Mimi. You have someone tell the people on that ship that we are living a good life here and don't want to go anywhere else. Tell them to get out. Be tougher. Zhao Mimi clicked, and then immediately arranged for a woman with a more aggressive personality to speak out. Listen. To the bastards across the way, we are living a good life here, so we don't want to leave with you, and we don't need your help. So stop bothering us and get out of here. Originally, Xialuo didn't have to go to such trouble. He just had to teleport directly to the survivor, kill most of the people on the ship, and leave a few people to guide him and find their lair. However, Xialuo had dealt with them in his previous life and knew that their discipline was still very strict, and they were also very cunning. Their lair will not be fixed in one place at all. They are also very cautious. If they are directly forced to lead the way, Xialuo is really afraid of any accidents. Moreover, the time when Xialuo met them in this life was much earlier than in the previous life. Therefore, after Xialuo checked the situation of the survivor through the drone just now, Xialuo changed his previous plan of directly killing people and seizing the ship. Charlotte decided to make people on the survivor angry first, and then use a little force to drive them away. Finally, when they left, Charlotte quietly teleported to their ship and hid, because Xialuo discovered that the survivor was quite large inside, with many rooms, warehouses, etc. on the ship. Xialuo teleported up and hid, so no one on the ship could notice it at all, and as long as the survivor is scared to leave, they will naturally return to their home base. At that time, even if they carefully check to see if anyone is following them, it will be useless because they never could have guessed that someone would be hiding on their boat. Although this method is more troublesome, it is definitely safer than Xialuo threatening them. At this time, aboard the Survivor, a bald man's face was full of anger. What happened to the survivors in this hotel? This was not their attitude yesterday. The young lady who negotiated with them yesterday had a very gentle attitude, and based on what they said yesterday, there is a high probability that they will leave with him. So when he came here today, he felt quite happy because judging from what happened yesterday, there are not only women in this hotel, but they also have long-range weapons. Although they are just some crossbows, they are also very good weapons. By then, if he can bring back all the women and weapons here, he will definitely get a lot of rewards from above. But why haven't we seen each other all night? Have the attitudes of women here changed so much? This is simply the difference between fine chaff in the south and coarse grains in the north. Although the bald man was mentally prepared, he was still feeling a little uncomfortable emotionally. So, the bald man took a loudspeaker and shouted angrily at the hotel, "FK, people in the hotel opposite, don't be so shameless. This relocation of survivors was ordered by the people above, so you must follow us. Leave. Bah, you have a loud voice and you are so awesome. Why do you still give orders from your superiors? Those are your superiors, not ours. We should give a damn. Do you want to pretend that it's an order from the government? It's a pity that you bastards, even if I give you a piece of skin, you still can't pretend, let alone you don't have any skin on your body." The woman Zhao Mimi found is indeed quite aggressive. He actually shouted back, bang. Suddenly, the bald man on the Survivor took out a pistol from his waist and fired a shot into the sky above the hotel. How about it? It's time for you to be obedient now, right? Chapter 265. At any rate, you have to give some face to other thugs. There was a sudden gunshot. Although it shocked all the women in the hotel, there was not much fear on their faces. Isn't it just a broken gun? It's as if they don't have one here. Now, they are no longer women who have never seen the world before. The last time Xialuo went on a killing spree in this hotel, it was much more exciting than the police movies in the movie. Now the people on the opposite boat randomly fired their shots, and then wanted to scare them. They were just dreaming. The woman who was arranged by Zhao Mimi to shout was yelling directly outside. "Those from Male Gobi are great if you have a broken gun. If you have the guts, just come over and kill me." Sister Liu, are you swearing, or do you want to be fed by a man? Haha, I think it's the latter. Zhao Mimi was speechless as she looked at the laughing and playing women. What was originally a serious and tense matter, they were being surrounded by thugs, and those thugs still have guns in their hands, so why don't everyone care? At any rate, you have to give some face to other thugs. But Zhao Mimi also knows that all this is because Xialuo is by their side, so there is no atmosphere of tension and fear among everyone. On the Survivor outside the hotel, not only did the bald man look ugly, but all the men around him also had dark faces. They could still hear a little bit of the women's playfulness in the hotel, but they didn't expect that they all fired. The people in the hotel opposite not only scolded them, but were also playing around, as if they didn't take them seriously at all. This is simply unreasonable. After the flood hit them and they found support, how could they ever be so angry? That's right, they believed that the people in the hotel already knew what they really wanted to do after they opened fire. They are robbers, and since you know they are here to rob, you still dare to ignore them like this, which is simply an insult to their profession. The bald man on the Survivor now had an extremely fierce look in his eyes. He swore that after capturing this hotel, he would torture a few people to death, otherwise he would not be able to vent his anger. Let the brothers launch the boat into the water, then get a few more incendiary bombs and throw them into the hotel. As long as the hotel is burned down, I'll see if they can still be arrogant. The bald man also knew in his heart that although he had a gun, the pistol in his hand had a limited shooting range and could not hit anyone in the hotel. What's more, the people in the hotel are still hiding in the room, blocked by the wall, so if he uses a machine gun, let alone a pistol, it may be useless. He just shot on the air. In fact, it's more of a deterrent. According to his previous experience, as soon as the gun in his hand goes off, the survivors will basically be frightened to death after knowing that it is a real gun, and then they will surrender and obey. Now I encounter someone who doesn't act according to common sense. His gun is really useless, even if he rushes over with a gun in person. The people in the hotel have crossbows and are still condescending upstairs, so they must be more powerful than his pistol. So even though he was furious, the bald man didn't lose his mind, even when they came today. They were already prepared for a strong attack. The way they attacked was to use a boat to approach the hotel, and then throw the incendiary bombs they made into the hotel. In this way, As long as a fire breaks out in that hotel, the people in the hotel will naturally have to escape. Although this method may burn a lot of supplies and time, for those who resist stubbornly, they can only waste some things. I'll make it up to them when the time comes. They have launched a small boat, and this time they are wearing stab-proof clothing, and some people are holding wooden boards as shields, obviously to defend against our crossbows. HMPH, we're not afraid even if they have shields. They can't come up anyway. The women in the hotel could clearly see the actions of the enemy on the opposite side, and everyone was talking about it, but they were not too worried. Xialuo shook his head. Don't underestimate the enemy at any time. Did you see those glass bottles in their hands? Those are incendiary bombs. They don't need to go upstairs at all. They just throw the incendiary bombs into our hotel, and then just burn our hotel down. Hearing Xialuo's words, many women suddenly panicked. Even Zhao Mimi and the others who had crossbows quickly raised their crossbows. They had to stop those people from approaching the hotel. Zhao Mimi said with some annoyance, "We should save more water and put it upstairs, so that if there is a fire, we can still use water to put out the fire in time, because there's a water world outside the hotel." They really never thought about storing a lot of water in the room before, but luckily Xialuo was here this time. Otherwise, if the enemy really throws incendiary bombs into the hotel, they really don't know what to do. Xialuo did not respond to Zhao Mimi. In the apocalypse, many things need to be experienced by themselves before they can gain experience. Of course, after some people experience it, there may be no future for them, but the end of the world is like this. Everything is cruel. Looking at the two small boats approaching the hotel outside, Xialuo showed a smile. The plan was almost here. Now it was his turn to take action. Xialuo has no patience to continue acting with them. Then with a thought, Xialuo suddenly had a grenade in his hand. Xialuo has always been the object of attention of women. Many women quickly discovered the sudden extra things in his hands. Then, all the girls opened their mouths wide. Could this round thing be what they thought it was? Then, under the surprised eyes of all the women in the hotel, Xialuo pulled a ring of the grenade and threw it directly towards a small boat outside. Xialuo's technique was quite accurate and he threw it directly onto the small boat. Originally, the people on the small boat were always on guard. After all, they knew that the group in the hotel had long-range weapons. If they don't want to get hurt in this doomsday, they must be careful. However, they suddenly saw a black object thrown out of the hotel, only the size of a child's fist. Is this to stone them to death? Haha. They all thought it was quite funny, so they didn't pay too much attention, but when the thing fell onto the boat, the men on the boat suddenly widened their eyes. Then, there was a loud bang. The grenade exploded and the small boat was blown away. Chapter 266 finally found the rightful owner. This loud noise and sudden change made the scene quiet for a while, then everyone reacted. "I'm sorry," leave quickly and sail away quickly. After a period of confusion, the bald man on the survivor reacted first and immediately screamed and yelled at his subordinates. He never thought that the survivors in this hotel would actually have bombs. Who are the survivors in this hotel? Are they planning to carry out a terrorist attack in this hotel before the end? But the bald man didn't care to know the reason. He just wanted to get out of here quickly. Fortunately, he was always cautious in doing things and didn't just sail the big ship directly, otherwise, the bomb would have exploded on his survivor by now. In fact, the bald man didn't know that it was easy for Xialuo to throw a grenade on the survivor. It's just that Xialuo didn't do that. After all, Xialuo's plan is to scare the bald ones and let them escape, so that Xialuo can ride on their boat and go to their lair. Therefore, Li would definitely not throw a grenade directly at the survivor, otherwise there would be no one to guide him. "I'm going to do something. You guys stay in the hotel and be careful." Seeing that the survivor had launched and was about to leave, Xialuo said something to Zhao Mimi. Zhao Mimi looked at Xialuo and said in a soft and gentle voice, "Well, be careful too. I'll wait for you here." If it were before the end, Zhao Mimi's character would rarely be so gentle. She would be like a queen, and many people would surround her, but now, Zhao Mimi understands her identity and status. Men definitely like gentle women, and she needs to learn more. Moreover, such a powerful man as Xialuo really convinced her. Xialuo nodded to Zhao Mimi, and then suddenly disappeared. Zhao Mimi and the women in the hotel are already used to Xialuo's elusive ability, so they are not surprised at all. At this time, the survivor didn't stop again until it had sailed far away. Under the order of the bald man, the survivor stopped again. After all, they are a powerful force. But to be scared to death by a survivor in a hotel is really outrageous. In addition, they still have a small boat that is not in trouble, so they must stop and wait. Of course, the most important thing is that after the bald man calmed down, he thought of a question, that is, although the survivors in the hotel have grenades, they have no water transportation, so they cannot leave the hotel at all. This is why the people in the hotel could only use bombs to blow up their small boats, but not their big ships, because the boat was a little far away from the hotel just now. Therefore, there is no need to worry about their ships staying away from that hotel. After waiting for a long time, another small boat also escaped an embarrassment and joined the survivor. Brother Cunning, what should we do now? When the thugs on the survivor saw that the people in the hotel did not chase them out, they naturally came to their senses. The people in the hotel had no water transportation at all, and they don't have to worry about their own safety at all. But I almost scared the shit out of them just now, so everyone on the boat was very angry and aggrieved. Then everyone looked at the bald man, waiting for him to make up his mind. The bald man's name is Go Jiaqiang. Before the end of the world, he was a top student studying abroad. Because he was good at flattering, he became the captain of the survivor and specialized in searching for resources nearby. Although he knew that the people in the hotel could not leave the hotel, Gao Jiaqiang did not want to go there again. Don't blow up his survivor if you can't deal with the people in the hotel. If he didn't say whether he would be drowned, then, even if he could go back alive, there would be no way to explain it to his superiors. So Gao Jiaqiang had a cold face and scolded the younger brother who spoke. What should we do? Of course we should go back and report the situation here quickly. Do you still want to taste the power of bombs again? Hurry up and set sail. When we go back to report the situation, the superiors will come up with a solution. Let's come back and kill the people in the hotel. Yes, Brother Cunning. However, Gao Jiaqiang would never have thought that there would be a stranger on the survivor at this time. Under Gao Jiaqiang's order, the survivor began its return journey. However, Xialuo, who was hiding in a certain warehouse of the survivor, discovered that the survivor first drove in a zigzag manner for more than 10 minutes. During this period, there were crew members who were observing behind with binoculars. After possibly confirming that there were no signs of being followed, the survivor began to move at full speed in the north direction. Sure enough, you are careful enough, but it was useless no matter how careful they were, because they were just too careful to see if anyone was following them. Even if they were beaten to death, they would not have thought that the enemy had actually arrived on their ship. So no matter how careful they are, it's useless. The survivor continued to drive for about 20 minutes, and Li Xiaoluo's eyes suddenly brightened, because from the perspective of the drone, he could clearly see that there were many large and small ships docked in the water ahead. There are more than 100 ships, and at a glance, there are almost all types of ships, such as super luxury cruise ships, cargo ships, passenger ships, fishing boats, etc. However, the most eye-catching thing is the ship in the middle surrounded by a group of ships. It is a super huge cruise ship that looks very luxurious and huge. Blue Star Sun Never Sets is the name of this super cruise ship, but this name was obviously renamed after the apocalypse. Li Xiaoluo has been to this super cruise ship in his previous life, so he is naturally no stranger to it. It is said that this super cruise ship is more than 300 meters long, with more than a dozen decks alone, and there are more than 2,000 rooms on the cruise ship, each of which is extremely luxurious and can accommodate up to tens of thousands of people. Exclamation mark. This super yacht even has a large supermarket, amusement park, shooting range, golf course, etc. It has everything you need. Although the previous survivor was considered a big ship in the eyes of ordinary survivors, in front of the super cruise ship Blue Star Sun Never Sets, it might not even be considered a child. Soon, the thugs on the survivor also saw the super cruise ship. Their faces suddenly showed a hint of joy, because they had gone home, but soon, their faces became ugly again. After all, not only did they gain nothing this time, but they also lost a boat and some manpower. There was no need to think about rewards. As for whether there would be punishment, it depends on the mood of the above. Exclamation mark. So they can't be happy no matter what. However, the thugs on the survivor were in a low mood, but Li Xiaoluo was in a good mood. Finally found the rightful owner. Chapter 267. The Past of Blue Star Sun Never Sets. Before the end of the world, the super luxury cruise ship Blue Star Sun Never Sets was definitely one of the most luxurious cruise ships, and it was also a gathering place for countless wealthy people around the world. There are top-notch services on the cruise ship, including food, drinks, and entertainment. A few months ago, When the first extreme cold natural disaster hit, the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship was not yet called this name. The passengers on the cruise ship at that time witnessed things that they could never imagine in their lifetime. The entire sea area is frozen. Then from the news around the world, they also learned that a disaster was sweeping the world. Originally, there were many super rich people on the cruise ship. If only a certain place or country encountered a disaster, they could dispatch planes to rescue them at any time. But now there is a disaster all over the world. No matter how powerful they are, they can't do anything now. Fortunately, although there were 5,000 to 6,000 people on board the Blue Star Sun Never Sets at that time, they had a lot of food stored on the cruise ship. If they save a little, they can last for a month without any problem. So at the beginning, although there was some panic on board the Blue Star Sun Never Sets, everyone was still calm and lived in harmony. But when a week later, the disaster showed no signs of ending, and they did not have any rescue, panic began to spread on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets. In addition, in order for the food to last longer, cruise ship managers have also begun to think of ways to control the food. In the beginning, the way to control food was to keep raising the price of food. For example, on the 5th day, a piece of bread costs 100 meters, and a piece of grilled sausage costs 200 meters. On the 10th day, a piece of bread cost 10,000 knives, and a piece of sausage cost 20,000 knives. There is also a limit on the number of purchases. Each person can only purchase up to 3 numbers. In fact, although there are many rich people on this super cruise ship, most of them are middle-class people. A loaf of bread costs 10,000 yuan. With all their wealth, they cannot afford to eat many, so in order to survive, those who cannot afford food will naturally cause riots and protests. But the owner of this super cruise ship is not a vegetarian. In order to ensure the safety of this super cruise ship, he had hundreds of security personnel on board, many of whom were mercenaries or retired special forces who had been on the battlefield. In addition, although cruise ships stipulate that ordinary passengers cannot carry weapons, this is only for ordinary passengers. Those top billionaires who come to play will naturally bring their own bodyguards and some weapons. The owner of the cruise ship is named Williams, so he will naturally prepare some weapons to ensure the safety of the cruise ship. It can be said that the entire cruise ship's troops and weapons can almost fight a small war, to put it bluntly. This super cruise ship before the end of the world actually has some gray industry properties, otherwise it would not have casinos, coliseums and shooting places on it. This is why this luxury cruise ship generally does not go to a large eastern country. Most of its main tourists are wealthy people from the West, the Middle East, Sakura country and other places. But there is no doubt that the people who control this super cruise ship are very powerful. If ordinary tourists want to cause trouble, they will not be able to make any waves, unless the entire cruise ship unites. Then the super rich and their bodyguards join the rebellion. But Williams, the owner of the Blue Star Sunset cruise ship, is not stupid. The reason why he still allows money to buy food even though he knows that money may have no use in the future is actually to win over those powerful super people. Rich man, after all, even if a piece of bread costs 10,000 yuan, if the owner of the cruise ship, Williams, does not limit a purchase, the top wealthy people can even buy the food for the entire cruise ship, and even if there is a purchase limit, they will not go hungry. Therefore, all disasters and rules are still aimed at ordinary survivors and have nothing to do with those powerful rich people. Then they will naturally not stand up against Williams, the owner of the cruise ship, and they will not do such stupid things as killing each other. Moreover, they also very much agree with the approach of cruise ship owner Williams, because by doing this, Williams was saving food on the cruise ship. The more food they save, the longer they can live. So at the end of the ice disaster, the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship was in a hellish scene. People die every day on cruise ships, either starved to death or beaten to death. Many people whose assets are not rich enough will have no choice but to go hungry after spending all their money. Then when you are really hungry and can't bear it anymore, and you try to grab something to eat, you will basically be beaten to death. There are also lucky people who can exchange their valuable things for some food, such as the female companions around them, or mortgage themselves as slaves. But more people were frozen after death, until the second stage of floods came. The population of the Blue Star Sun Never Sets had dropped from more than 6,000 to less than 2,000. Of the 2,000 people still alive, basically more than half of them voluntarily became slaves. Then, Williams, the owner of the cruise ship, and several super rich people stopped fighting among themselves. They reached an agreement and jointly took control of the life and death of the Blue Star Sun Never Sets. When the second stage of the flood came, the leaders of the Blue Star Sun Never Set not only did not panic, but became excited because after the whole world turns into a water world, although many people will die, what does that have to do with them? On the contrary, the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship they are on is originally a sea fortress, and water world is their home. The second disaster in the water world is their opportunity. During the ice disaster, the Blue Star Sun Never Sets was originally trapped near the Cherry Blossom Country, but after the flood came, it passed through the Cherry Blossom Country, the Kimchi Country, and then all the way to the Hua Country, because they all know that China is rich in products, which is far beyond what Sakura Country and Kimchi Country can compare with. Of course, on the way to China, the Blue Star Sun Never Sets constantly used coercion and inducement to gather hundreds of large and small ships in the waters of Sakura Country and Kimchi Country, and then formed a huge fleet. Moreover, Williams and the others in power made a big pie for the entire fleet. As long as they go to China, there will no longer be a shortage of food and women, and they can live a good life again. The pie painted by Williams and the others actually made the thugs in the entire fleet very excited. After all, most of the population of the entire fleet are Westerners, and then there are people from Sakura Country and Kimchi Country. Many of them, for some reason, are basically full of yearning for a certain big Eastern country. Period. Chapter 268 Ocean City. Ocean City, this is a city on the sea. However, calling it a city is a bit exaggerated for the time being. It is actually a gathering place on the sea where many large ships gather together to form a large-scale sea gathering place. After the second flood came, Williams, the owner of the super cruise ship Blue Star Sun Never Sets, continued to collect some large ships, and then all the way to the Chinese city. However, for safety reasons, Williams and his fleet did not go to those super cities in China, especially those along the coast, because there were many warships in China before the end of the world. Although after several months of the end of the world, I don't know how many of those warships and the soldiers who drove them can survive, but if there are still more, those armies will definitely rescue those super cities nearby. Williams's ultimate goal is not only to find food, people and ships in China, but also to continuously expand their team and eventually build a real city on the sea where the sun never sets. So Williams and the others took this goal as their direction and first gave their fleet a city name. It means that their team will become stronger and stronger in the future, and both the area and population will be almost the same as a city. In fact, it must be very difficult to achieve their goal. After all, there are just a few ships next to each other, and the area of the ship's hull can be the size of a city, so how many ships do they have to find? Moreover, a city should have 20,000 to 30,000 people, right? But now the total population of Williams' fleet is less than 3,000. In other words, they have to capture tens of thousands more survivors in China. But Williams and the others are working hard towards this goal. After Williams and his fleet arrived in China, they brought all the big ships together and built this ocean city. Every day they would send out several small and medium-sized ships to search for supplies and arrest Chinese people nearby. The reason why only some small and medium-sized ships were sent out, while their large ships were docked together, that's because the targets of their search are pre-apocalyptic cities, and there are still many high-rise buildings in those cities that have not been submerged. It would be very inconvenient to send large ships there. In addition, large ships consume too much fuel, and now there is no place to refuel their big ships, so after arriving at the target city in China, their big ship can move as long as it can, and they can just enjoy the results on the ship every day. After all, after arriving in China, they indeed plundered much more food from the Chinese survivors. First of all, China must have more supplies than the Sakura and other countries they visited before, so some of the survivors in China must have more supplies. Secondly, Chinese people have always liked to leave a way out for themselves and can endure hardships and stand hard work. How to put it? For example, before the end of the world, a Westerner and a Chinese suddenly have a lot of money in their hands. Westerners think about how to eat, drink and have fun. Being happy at the moment is the most important thing, but the Chinese people are definitely reluctant to eat and drink, and want to save it for future plans. The same goes for many survivors in China. They originally had some food in their hands, but they would rather go hungry every day than eat more, thinking that it might save their lives in the end. And now, the food they saved, and even their people, have become the spoils of war for Williams' men. At the same time, as the population of Ocean City is increasing, especially the number of Chinese arrested is increasing, the population composition of Ocean City is also becoming more and more complex. People in Ocean City basically come from different countries and have different skin colors. In order to better control the people in Ocean City, Williams and the others also prevented the people below from uniting. Williams and several other people in power discussed it, and then they formulated a rule, which was to classify the people of Ocean City into different levels. First of all, Williams is the actual owner of the original Blue Star Never Sets and is now the nominal controller of Ocean City. He naturally has the greatest say. Therefore, white people who belong to Western countries like him have become the most noble beings in the entire Ocean City and belong to first-class citizens. Then, because the Kimchi Nation has the largest number of ships in the entire Ocean City, and some of the leaders are from the Kimchi Nation, so the people from the Kimchi Nation have become second-class citizens. Next, there are the people of Sakura Country whose population is only slightly less than that of Kimchi Country. They are third-class citizens. In this way, all Westerners will benefit the most, and they will naturally firmly support Williams' rule. And before the end of the world, Sakura Kingdom and Kimchi Kingdom were the younger brothers of Westerners. After the end of the world, their status will be lower than theirs, which is actually acceptable, but in Ocean City, the status of people from Sakura Country is lower than that from Kimchi Country, so they will naturally be unconvinced, and then there will be conflicts. What Williams wants is for the entire fleet to have some minor conflicts. He doesn't want everyone to unite. Finally, naturally there are those Chinese people who have been arrested recently. They can only be the lowest level coolies or slaves, of course, except for those Chinese people who chose to be second-class cowards on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets, because they still need to arrest the Chinese people. They can also obtain the status of third-class citizens. Gao Jiaqiang, the captain of the survivor, is such a person, that is, Gaozi. At this time, the survivor had docked outside Ocean City. Gao Jiaqiang also contacted his superiors through the walkie-talkie, and then reported what they encountered at the hotel. After the survivor was completely close to Ocean City, Gao Jiaqiang looked at the people on the ship with a majestic look and said, "Brothers, I'm going to the cruise ship to report the situation to the city lord. All of you, please stay on the ship and wait for me. You can't go there for the time being." The so-called city lord is the title Williams gave himself after he created the name Ocean City. I got it, Brother Kayang. Brother Kayang, we will stay on the boat obediently. Gao Jiaqiang's subordinates all quickly agreed. After all, they saw that Gao Jiaqiang's face was not very good when they reported on the walkie-talkie, so they don't want to get into trouble now. In addition, they actually have the lowest status in Ocean City, and many places are simply inaccessible. After handing over his men, Gao Jiaqiang couldn't wait to walk towards the interior of Ocean City. The reason why Gao Jiaqiang is anxious and looks bad is because after he reported the situation just now, he soon received the news that the lord of the city, Williams, wanted to summon him. This made Gao Jiaqiang feel very uneasy. In fact, Gao Jiaqiang didn't have much contact with the distinguished Lord Williams, but every time he saw Gao Jiaqiang, he was under great pressure. After all, Williams was a real big shot, and he was before the end, and he was very cold-blooded and ruthless. Williams' methods can be seen from the fact that thousands of people starved to death on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets. However, Gao Jiaqiang did not allow him to think too much. After going through several areas and numerous checkpoints, Gao Jiaqiang finally met Williams in a huge conference room on the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship. In addition to Williams sitting in the main seat in the conference room, there were two people sitting on either side of Williams. Two of them were also Westerners, another was from Sakura Country, and the last one was from Kimchi Country. Among these 5 people, Williams is the city lord, and the other 4 are deputy city lords. They are the most powerful people in Ocean City. In fact, Gao Jiaqiang's biggest dream is to become a member of this conference room one day. Of course, Gao Jiaqiang is just thinking about it now. Even at this time, he had long lost his authority in front of his subordinates. Gao Jiaqiang knelt directly on the ground, knelt down towards Williams and said, "Little Gao Jiaqiang, I have met the respected Lord City Lord, and I have also met all the deputy city lords." Chapter 269 Williams' Concerns. Looking at Gao Jiaqiang kneeling on the ground, several deputy city lords in the conference room showed a hint of disgust on their faces. Originally, in the past few days, they had been hearing reports from their subordinates about how much food they had harvested in China and how many people they had arrested. Everything was so beautiful, so just now, they were still enjoying the service of beautiful women and experiencing the customs of different countries at the same time. They were about to get to the point, and then they were suddenly called over by someone sent by Williams. It would be strange for any man to be in a good mood if he was abruptly interrupted in that situation. They were still afraid of Williams, so they didn't dare to have any dissatisfaction with Williams, so they could only transfer their anger to Gao Jiaqiang. Seeing the cannibalistic looks of several deputy city chiefs, Gao Jiaqiang shivered in fear. Although I suffered a defeat, I don't think I can blame myself, right? Why are some big shots so angry? Could it be that he ran away too quickly? Should he fight to the death with the people in that hotel? MMP, even though I am a dog, you really don't treat me as a human being. Williams, who was sitting in the main seat, didn't have much expression. He looked at Gao Jiaqiang majestically. Now tell me the situation at that time in detail. Yes, Lord City Lord. Gao Jiaqiang did not hesitate and quickly told all the things he encountered when he went to that hotel today. Of course, when it came to the end of the matter, Gao Jiaqiang still made a small embellishment. He was not scared away by the bomb thrown by Li Xiaoluo, but launched several more sieges on the hotel. But in the end he was really no match for the enemy. Baga, you are doing useless work. The other captains have all gained a lot. Why are you so incompetent? A short old man with a mustache looked at Gao Jiaqiang angrily. In fact, he finally made it once and was about to show off his glory, but Gao Jiaqiang ruined it. Gao Jiaqiang bowed quickly. Hey, it's all my fault. Williams ignored the little old man with a mustache. He looked at Gao Jiaqiang and said, do you think the people in that hotel are from the army? This is why Williams really cares about this matter. Otherwise, even if Gao Jiaqiang was defeated and someone died, it would not matter to him. Dogs like Gao Jiaqiang and the others can have as many dogs as they want as long as they give them a few bones. After hearing Williams' words, the faces of those with mustaches suddenly changed. They naturally know how powerful the Chinese army is. Although it is a water world now, there are still many Chinese warships. In fact, the reason why they chose this city was because they believed that there should be no army here. Moreover, the people they sent out also gave strict instructions that they could not reveal the information about their ocean city to anyone. And they could not be followed by anyone when they came back. City Lord, are you making a bit of a fuss? That is, if it were really the Chinese army, would Gao Jiaqiang be able to come back alive? The other deputy city lords were shocked and immediately refuted Williams' words. The main reason is that they are unprepared or unwilling to accept such a situation. After all, they had just arrived in China not long ago, and everything was going great. Gao Jiaqiang also said quickly, I think the deputy city lords are convinced that it is definitely not an army, because they did not fire a shot at us, and they did not have water vehicles to pursue us. Williams' face was serious. You should all know what is going on in China. The management of guns and other weapons is extremely strict. Now there are bombs. Who do you think it is, even? If those people are not in the Navy and don't have warships, who knows if they have any way to contact the outside world? So, even if they don't seem to be a threat to us for the time being, we must figure out their situation as soon as possible. At the same time that Gao Jiaqiang was called over by Williams, Li Xiaoluo also started to use the drone to investigate this special city made up of ships. Although Li Xiaoluo had been to this ocean city in his previous life, he was actually not familiar with it because in his previous life, he was a slave who was captured here, and his range of activities was very small. Although the entire ocean city is only composed of a few ships, it covers several miles and some are very large ships. For example, the Blue Star Sun never sets as high as a dozen floors and has thousands of rooms. It is not easy just to find out the situation of that super cruise ship. Of course, although Li Xiaoluo doesn't know many places in Ocean City and has never been there, he still knows some basic information. For example, Ocean City is divided into 4 areas. The core central area is the Blue Star Sun never sets cruise ship, but only first-class citizens of Ocean City can enter it. The thugs who lived on that ship were treated the best. They had the best rooms, plenty of food, and even had their own slaves. Then there is the first ring area outside the central area. This area is mostly composed of large yachts, freighters, etc., and the accommodation environment is not bad. This area is where Ocean City's second-class citizens live, and only second-class citizens or above can enter. Next is the second ring area, where third-class citizens live, and only people above third-class citizens can enter. The outermost area is the refugee area, but the so-called refugee area is just a nice way of saying it, but it is actually a prisoner and slave area. This time Li Xiaoluo has to deal with a lot of thugs, and they are also very powerful. They also have a lot of hard weapons. If Li Xiaoluo kills them directly now, he may not be able to gain the absolute upper hand this time. Maybe he will still. There is danger. Li Xiaoluo is used to being the 6th child. He values his own life more than anything else, so if there is no absolute certainty, Li Xiaoluo will not easily go out and fight. Revenge is not as important as his own life. Therefore, Li Xiaoluo must first investigate everything in Ocean City and then come up with a winning strategy. Fortunately, Li Xiaoluo has a stealth reconnaissance drone. In this case, its role is really too great. Li Xiaoluo didn't need to go out at all. He could control the drone and check everything in Ocean City at will, starting from the Blue Star Sun Never Sets cruise ship in the core area. Li Xiaoluo had to figure out the guard's strength in each place, the number of their weapons, the places where the weapons were stored, and so on. Then he checked the first ring area, the second ring area at the back, and all the way to the slum area at the end. Li Xiaoluo walked them all, of course. During this period, Li Xiaoluo saw many inappropriate scenes, even many bloody scenes. All we can say is that in Ocean City, evil happens all the time, but Li Xiaoluo finally turned his attention to the refugee area. In his previous life, Li Xiaoluo had been helped by some people here, which made him feel that there was still a trace of warmth in the end of the world. Li Xiaoluo never wanted to owe others a favor. He had no chance to repay it in his previous life, so he must make up for it in this life. Chapter 270 The Job of a Narrow Escape. Refugee Zone in Ocean City. It is said to be a refugee area, and this is very appropriate, because the boats here are the most dilapidated, and basically all the equipment that can be dismantled has been dismantled. There are no official names for the boats in the refugee area. All the boats are replaced by numbers. The word 1 is written on the boat in bright red paint, which means it is refugee camp number 1. All Chinese people staying in the refugee area have no property of their own except the clothes on their bodies. All their belongings were confiscated the moment they stepped into Ocean City. Now they are just a group of slaves waiting to be selected. If there is a job that requires them, then they can survive for one more day. Otherwise, they can only wait to die. In fact, many Chinese people were deceived into coming here. After all, the people who recruited them were basically Chinese, and they were also educated people who had studied abroad. They were eloquent and described Ocean City as extremely powerful and rich. Those people say that Ocean City is full of Westerners, and those Westerners hate work the least, even in the post-apocalyptic world. So if you go to Ocean City and work hard, you can live the same good life as before the end. In fact, this scam of going abroad to earn a high salary is advertised every day before the end, and many people have been fooled. After all, Chinese people have always been synonymous with hard work. Let them work hard and live a good life, and they will definitely do it, just like before the end of the world. Foreign countries worked 5 days and 6 hours a week and protested that the hours were too long. In China, the scores were higher than the scores, and they didn't work without working overtime. So when you think about making money from foreigners, it must be a good thing, but I don't know that many of them are traps. Just like after the apocalypse, only after many survivors came to Ocean City did everyone realize that they had been cheated. This Ocean City is like a small South Asian country before the apocalypse. It will be wiped out if it passes by. The so-called Ocean City is not a force controlled by the Chinese at all, of course. There were also many passionate Chinese people who came here and were very angry when they found out that they had been cheated. They also wanted to resist, but in the end they were all killed. In those days, the water surface was dyed scarlet every day, and even their bodies were not known where they were transported. Just as it was getting late, Li Xiaoluo finally found the person he was looking for in refugee camp number 18. Relying on his memories of his previous life, there were 2 people in total. One was a man in his 30s. He was not tall. Everyone called him fatty. It was said that his biggest hobby before the end was eating. Moreover, he is still the kind of person who can gain weight even by drinking cold water. It would be strange if he could not gain weight, but no one doubted what he said, because after the apocalypse, everyone had been starved for 9 meals, and had long been thin and skinny, but he was still as fat as a penguin. Usually this fat guy smiles very wretchedly and is very timid, but in his previous life he helped Li Xiaoluo. The other one is a little girl of 8 or 9 years old, named Xiaolingling. People in the refugee camp basically use nicknames, and few call people by their real names. In Li Xiaoluo's memory, the little girl was also very thin, and her little face was dirty, making it difficult to see her appearance clearly, but she had a pair of big black eyes, very bright and cute in her previous life. When Li Xiaoluo was about to die from hunger, she gave Li Xiaoluo some food, but later Li Xiaoluo learned that the little girl's grandmother had given her life in exchange for the food, hoping that she could survive on the food. Unfortunately, Li Xiaoluo in her previous life was too weak and had no ability to keep her alive. Now seeing these 2 people again, even though Li Xiaoluo is determined to be a selfish and cold-blooded person in this life, he is still a little excited at this time. And just when Li Xiaoluo's drone arrived at refugee camp 18, Refugee Camp 18 also welcomed some special people. There were several beautifully dressed women, including Chinese women, and blonde and blue-eyed men. Behind them were several soldiers wearing security uniforms with guns in their hands. Seeing the appearance of these people, many of the survivors in Refugee Camp number 18 showed a hint of excitement in their originally numb expressions, because they know that these people are basically here to recruit people. You might let them do hard work, you might let them build something, you might let them vent their emotions, although there is basically no good life, maybe even no dignity. But when you are so hungry that you want to eat shit, who cares about dignity? In fact, in Ocean City, if Ocean City officially recruits people, it is basically mandatory. You have to do whatever you are told. If you don't do it, you will be dead. However, the recruitment of teams by some beautiful women is basically the private behavior of some nobles in Ocean City. People in refugee camps can also choose whether they want to do it or not. However, as long as it is not something that will kill people, who can withstand the temptation of food now? Here I want to talk about the so-called nobles of Ocean City. In fact, it is also a means of the upper-class rulers of Ocean City. As the population of Ocean City increases, more and more materials are looted from Ocean City. Therefore, in order to win over the hearts of their subordinates, several upper-level city lords in Ocean City do not hesitate to reward their closest subordinates. Not only did they receive a lot of food and supplies, but they were also given the title of nobility. For example, something like Earl is just a false name anyway. So in Ocean City, there are now many nobles. After those women arrived on the boat in Refugee Camp number 18, a woman with heavy makeup covered her nose, first looked at the ragged people on the boat with disgust, and then said loudly, "Everyone, please pay attention and listen to me. The respected Mr. Futama Tanaka is going to invite Earl Thompson to play real bowling tomorrow, so 10 people are needed to serve as real pins. There is still one spot left. There is no gender limit, as long as you are healthy and honest and obedient. Then as long as you agree today, you can be paid 20 loaves of bread in advance." The so-called real person pin is an entertainment game invented by some nobles in Ocean City. They built an enlarged version of the bowling lane on a large ship, then tied up some people's hands and feet and asked them to stand on it. There is a pin. If a person is knocked down by a bowling ball, he will fall into the water from a boat dozens of meters high and eventually drown. In this job, the chance of death is very high. It can even be said to be a narrow escape from death. So after the woman with heavy makeup finished speaking, no one competed for the job this time, and no one even spoke up. Not everyone has the courage to face death. Why, you Chinese wastes? Although I used to be Chinese, I really feel ashamed for you. It's okay to starve if you don't have the ability. Now that you have the chance to eat, you will only act like cowards. Girl, my name is Li Zilang, and I am willing to do it. At this time, an old man in his 60s next to a little girl raised his hand. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271. What happened to Li Zilang's family? Grandma, Ling Ling doesn't want you to go. If you don't go, you will die. The little Ling Ling beside the old man was stunned for a moment after hearing her grandma's words, and then burst into tears the next moment. This is her last relative, and she doesn't want her grandma to die. The reason why Xiao Ling Ling knew that this job would kill people was because someone had experienced it before. There was an Uncle Xiao on their ship who was very kind to her before. But Uncle Xiao's wife, Aunt Liu, kept complaining that she was hungry because she didn't have many opportunities to earn food every day, so some people came to recruit people to be pins before. Xiao Ling Ling didn't know what she did before, but the day many of them saw with their own eyes that Uncle Xiao was hit by a ball and fell into the sea, and then never came up again. Got it, but Uncle Xiao's wife is now with Uncle Wang, and because of the food left by Uncle Xiao, she is doing well for the time being. But little Ling Ling would rather go hungry than let her grandma do such a thing. Grandma, don't leave little Ling Ling behind. I'll never cry out when I'm hungry again. Little Ling Ling also knew why Grandma did this. Grandma wanted to get more food for her to eat. Grandma must have heard her whispering that she was hungry before. Although she was really hungry, she never said it again. Li Zilang coughed, and then touched little Ling Ling's head lovingly. Ling Ling, don't worry. Didn't you say that Grandma is the most powerful person before, so Grandma will definitely be fine. Grandma is also hungry. After we get the food, we will all have a full meal today, and it will be good. I won't be hungry for days. In fact, everyone knows that this job is to take the initiative to die. If there are no people to take care of, no one will be willing to do it, and with the lessons learned from Uncle Xiao before, some men with wives are no longer willing to do it now. Only people like Li Ziyang who are fighting for their children are willing to stand up. In fact, Li Ziyang was also helpless. During the ice disaster, her family was actually very lucky at that time. Her son opened a small supermarket, so although they had a very difficult time after the ice disaster came, at least they had no shortage of food and drink. However, when the floods came, the good days of Li Ziyang and her family came to an end. The supermarket was flooded. The family worked hard to build a small raft, carried as much food as possible from the small supermarket to the raft, and then watched helplessly as their home was submerged. Later, when their family was drifting in the water, they met a couple who were also in trouble. The couple was not as lucky as theirs. The couple only had a raft and no food. They had been hungry for a day or two, so the couple asked them for food. Li Ziyang and the others saw that the couple was pitiful, so they gave them a few hams. Although they might not be full, they could relieve their urgent needs. However, after eating all the ham, the couple looked at the food on Li Ziyang's raft and their eyes seemed to be shining. The couple kept begging Li Ziyang and her family, hoping to give them more food. But Li Ziyang and others knew that their food would not last for a few days, so they were not qualified to be good people, so they refused. At the moment of refusal, the couple immediately showed their ferocious faces, and then moved their raft closer to try to snatch the food. Li Ziyang's wife and son naturally wanted to protect their family, and then they got into a fight with the couple, but they never thought that the couple had daggers hidden on their bodies and directly slit the throat of Li Ziyang's wife. This is the first time that Li Ziyang and her family have witnessed murder, and the ones who were killed were members of their own family. After they were stunned for a moment, they immediately went crazy and beat the couple away. Later, Li Ziyang and the others saw the cruelty of the apocalypse and began to become extremely cautious, but bad luck continued to befall her family. First, her son was killed by thugs, and then her daughter-in-law was snatched away by a group of thugs. The last ones alive were her and her granddaughter Xiao Lingling. As soon as she and her granddaughter Xiao Lingling found a place to stay, they were captured in Ocean City again. In fact, Li Ziyang had lost all hope for a long time. First, her relatives left her one after another, and then she came to this hell because in Ocean City, no one wants an old guy like her even if she wants to find some hard work. However, thinking of her son and trusting Lingling to her before his death, Li Ziyang kept gritting her teeth and persisting. She wanted to see if there could be any change, but because she would secretly leave most of the food to Xiao Lingling, her body became weaker and weaker. Li Ziyang knew that she had no hope, but she wanted to do something for her granddaughter before she died, so that she could live for a while longer. Maybe there would be hope then, so she has to do this lifelong job. However, when the woman with heavy makeup saw that it was an old guy like Li Ziyang who stood up, her face suddenly became very ugly. Why? Is he an old guy? What a bad luck. But she also knows that people who are willing to do this job are basically people who care and are willing to give, so there will definitely not be too many such people. This is also the reason why they, the life secretaries, have visited several refugee camps and still haven't recruited enough people. So although she cursed Li Ziyang as an old guy, the woman with heavy makeup still decided to let it go. After all, the environment in these refugee camps was too bad, and the quality of these Chinese people was also too poor. She didn't want to go to other refugee camps anymore. Even staying for one more second would be torture. This woman with heavy makeup is called Diane. No, her name is Jennifer now. She can now admit that she is still Chinese. If the end had not come, she would have obtained foreign status long ago. Jennifer looked at Li Ziyang and said in a bad tone, "Originally I didn't want an old guy like you, but seeing how pitiful you are, I'll give you a chance, but the food will be halved." At this time, there was a man next to him who couldn't stand it anymore. "Beauty, you are also Chinese, right? Do you need to treat your compatriots like this? Even if you are not willing to help their elderly and children, there is no need for you to bully them, right?" She paid for this food with her own life, and you still want to withhold it? Jennifer glared at the man who spoke with a mean look. "You untouchables, I warn you not to talk nonsense before the end of my life. I was a top student studying in Yingjiang country. I am already a member of Yingjiang country, and I am not a compatriot of you untouchables. You are only worthy of being a slave now, and I am a third-class citizen of Ocean City, so don't compare me to you." After saying that, Jennifer looked at Li Ziyang coldly. "Old immortal, if you want to do it, the food will be halved. Do you think you are willing?" Li Ziyang nodded sadly. Chapter 272 Shameless Middle-Aged Man. Jennifer's group quickly left refugee camp number 18, and Li Ziyang's grandparents also had 10 more loaves of bread in their hands. This is the price of Li Ziyang's life in this doomsday. The lives of useless old people like her are worthless, and the people in charge of Ocean City won't care either. Little Lingling's eyes were red and swollen from crying, and she didn't feel any joy at seeing so much food. Although she is small, she is not stupid. She knows that her grandma is just comforting her. No matter how powerful her grandma is, she is not as powerful as Uncle Xiao before, but Uncle Xiao is already dead. Lingling, aren't you hungry? Eat some food quickly. Only when you are full can you continue to live. You have to remember that no matter how difficult it is, as long as you are alive, there will be hope. Your parents will heaven bless you. Li Ziyang took out a piece of bread, carefully handed it to her granddaughter Lingling, and looked at her with a smile. If she could, she definitely didn't want to come to this point. She could be freed, but with such a young child, how could she survive alone in the future? But Li Ziyang really had no choice. She was so hungry that she could no longer hold on. There is no normal job here for an old man like her. She can only do the last thing for her granddaughter before she dies. As for the future, whether the granddaughter can see hope of living depends on her own fate. Grandma, you eat first. Little Lingling looked at Li Ziyang pitifully with her big black eyes, but the tears that she had finally stopped could not help but flow down again. Okay, Grandma will eat it too. Li Ziyang took the bread and took a careful bite. This bread should have been processed after the apocalypse, and the taste was far worse than the bread before the apocalypse, but in Li Ziyang's mouth at this time, it was extremely delicious, because the feeling of hunger was too uncomfortable. However, Li Ziyang didn't dare to bite too big a bite. She was about to die anyway, so there was no need to waste any more food. Let's leave it all to her granddaughter. Grandma has eaten. Lingling, you should also eat quickly. Yes. Xiao Lingling responded, and then quickly started eating in small bites. It's really good to have the feeling of eating food. Little Lingling didn't dare to eat more. She only ate 1/3 of the bread. Although she was still hungry, she still stopped because little Lingling knew how precious food is. Now seeing Li Ziyang and Xiao Lingling eating bread, dozens of people in refugee camp number 18 could not help but swallow their saliva. Then many people's eyes were fixed on the other bread and Li Ziyang's and others' hands. Although the situation of these people is better than that of Li Ziyang and her grandparents, because they occasionally get some jobs to earn some food, but every time there was very little food, not enough for them to have a full meal. This is also Ocean City's strategy, not only to allow some people to have jobs to work for them, but also to see hope of living, so that they will not take risks and resist again. But we won't let them eat a full meal, so they will never have the strength and will not have the strength to cause trouble. However, although many people were staring at Li Ziyang's bread, no one came forward to ask for it. After all, this is someone else's life in exchange for it. How can they have the nerve to eat it? Of course, you should never have too good thoughts about people, especially in this kind of doomsday. Some people may already have other thoughts about Li Ziyang's food. Some people even took action directly. A middle-aged man in his 40s suddenly stood up and walked to Li Ziyang's grandparents. Li Ziyang immediately looked at the middle-aged man warily, then tightly covered the bread next to her with her coat. It was actually the death of her family that made her frightened. Sister, don't be afraid. This food belongs to you. No matter how hungry I am, I will not snatch your food. Otherwise, even if I am shameless, the compatriots on this ship will not let me go. And before the doomsday, I am still a government employee, serving the people, and I will never do such a thing. The middle-aged man comforted Li Ziyang with a smile on his face, which immediately calmed down Li Ziyang and Xiao Lingling, because Li Ziyang knew that what the middle-aged man said was right. Although there were some douchebags in this Ocean City who sold themselves for glory, there were also some beasts who had long since lost their conscience. But in the situation of being bullied by foreigners, most survivors are still relatively united. This is also the reason why the food of Uncle Xiao's wife was not snatched by everyone. Of course, it is impossible for everyone to unite. Originally, some people wanted to rob, but more people came out to stop it. And if you dare to make trouble here, everyone on the ship might be killed, so no one dared to take action. What's the matter with you? Li Ziyang looked at the middle-aged man. As for what the middle-aged man said, Li Ziyang refused to comment. What's the use of talking about her pre-apocalyptic identity now, sister? I don't mean anything else. Your granddaughter's name is Lingling, right? In fact, if my little daughter had not died, she would have been as old as your granddaughter. So, when I saw your granddaughter, I thought of my own little daughter. I felt that your granddaughter was so pitiful, especially since you will be alone tomorrow. Then she will be alone in the future. Even if you buy her so much bread now, what will she do in the future? No adult can take care of her. Li Ziwang took a deep look at the middle-aged man, and then sighed. This is her life, and it will be up to her from now on. The middle-aged man opened his mouth. Wasn't what he said clear enough? But it's now time, and middle-aged men don't have any shame anymore. Sister, I really look at your granddaughter as if I were my own daughter. Otherwise, I might as well accept your granddaughter as my goddaughter. Li Ziwang shook her head. Thank you. My granddaughter will only have one father in her life, so she will never recognize another father. The middle-aged man's face suddenly looked very ugly, especially when some people around him looked at him with contempt. However, although Li Ziwang ignored the middle-aged man, his behavior gave her a wake-up call. She should find someone to rely on for her granddaughter. Otherwise, if she dies, if something happens to her granddaughter Xiaolingling in the future, she won't even have anyone to talk to. But soon, Li Ziwang's eyes dimmed again. At this time, who would take care of a child who is not related to her by blood? Moreover, it had not been long since they were all caught here, and she was not familiar with everyone's character. If she entrusted her granddaughter to a demon, she would harm her granddaughter. Li Ziwang looked around at the faces of all the people in refugee camp number 18, and finally landed on a round face. Chapter 273. A piece of bread. I will keep you safe in the future. Although Li Ziwang was not familiar with the people in refugee camp number 18, she had been getting along with them for a few days, and she still had a rough understanding of some people's personalities, and since she has lived so long, she can naturally get a general idea of who a person is like after getting along with them. Although this fat man had always acted timid and fearful, Li Ziwang could tell that at least he was not like others, whose eyes were full of greed. If it doesn't work, then the granddaughter can only be entrusted to him. So Li Ziwang stood up with a piece of bread, and then walked to the fat man. Little fatty, come here, I'll give you this bread. The fat man looked at the bread in Li Ziwang's hand and couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Although he has thick fat and is more resistant to hunger than others, he is also thinner than others when he is hungry. Sometimes, the fat man wishes he could knock himself out, because then he wouldn't have to endure the feeling of hunger. However, when the fat man saw the bread handed over by Li Ziwang, he couldn't believe it. Aunt Li, are you really giving me this bread? Fatty never expected that such a good thing would happen to him. After all, at this time, a piece of bread is very precious. If this were before the end of the world, a loaf of bread would be more expensive than a diamond now. So, it was like someone suddenly gave him a treasure before the end of the world. How could the fat man not be flattered? Could it be that Aunt Li gave him food because she saw that he was fat and would feel most uncomfortable when he was hungry? The fat man thought happily and was about to reach out and take the food from Li Ziwang's hand. After all, under such circumstances, if he still pretends to be polite, wouldn't he be struck by lightning from the sky? Little fatty, Aunt Li gave you the bread because she wants to ask you something. Can you help her keep an eye on my granddaughter Lingling from now on? After hearing Li Ziwang's words, the fat man's hand that he originally stretched out suddenly retracted as if he was electrocuted. Then the fat man shook his big head like a rattle. Aunt Li, I don't want your bread anymore. I really can't do this. I can't take care of myself. How can I take care of others? Find someone else. Many people here are better than me. The fat man before the apocalypse was actually a fat nerd and a person with relatively low self-esteem. His hobbies, apart from eating and playing games, were studying the few T's of information on his computer's hard drive. For a man in his 30s, he has never even touched a girl's hand. A few times before the end of the world, he was what others called trash. He couldn't marry a wife and almost couldn't even support himself. After the end of the world, no one will call him useless anymore. But in this doomsday, if he is asked to take care of a little girl, where does he have the ability? In fact, Fatty also knows, as long as he nods and agrees. Now not only is the bread in front of him his, when Li Ziwang dies tomorrow, the little girl Lingling and the remaining bread will be his at that time. After he has finished eating the bread, he can kick the little girl Lingling away and stop caring about her, and no one will do anything to him. The middle-aged man who just took the initiative to recognize Xiaolingling as his daughter may actually be thinking so in his heart, but even though these fat men knew it, he also wanted to eat bread very much, but his conscience still prevented him from doing such a thing. He would rather starve to death than do such a thing without conscience. The main thing is that he is too unsure of himself. He has no ability or any achievement since he was a child, but Li Ziwang looked at the fat man and still wanted to give him the bread, because the more the fat man behaved like this, the more relieved she felt. She also knew that many people on this ship might be better than this timid fat man, but if you are a person with an animal face and a heart, What is the use of being strong? And Lee, I don't want your food. I really can't do it. I'm just a waste. Find someone else. The fat man who was forcibly bound by Li Ziyang almost cried. Li Ziyang sighed when she saw the fat man like this. The twisted melon is not sweet. At this time, a voice suddenly rang out, "Give me this bread, and I will keep you safe in the future." The sudden sound made everyone on the boat subconsciously look towards the source of the sound before they meet anyone. Many people have already had an idea in their minds another shameless person appears, but when the people in refugee camp number 18 saw the speaker, they were stunned. Who is this? How did you end up on their ship? Yes, everyone could tell at a glance that the person speaking was not from their ship. Why can it be seen at a glance? Because this person is so normal. That's right, it's normal. Their first reaction when they saw this man was that he was too normal, almost the same as before the apocalypse regardless of his dress, or his expression and complexion. It was almost as if he was still living before the end of the world, you know. After such a long period of disaster and apocalypse, even the women who just came to recruit people, and even the high-ranking nobles in Ocean City, will all have some traces of the apocalypse on their bodies. But this man who suddenly appeared seemed to have never experienced the end of the world. He must be a big shot in Ocean City, such as those deputy city lords. But why would those big shots from Ocean City come to them, and he came alone? It doesn't seem to make sense. However, some people looked at the man who suddenly appeared, with a glimmer of light in their eyes. If this person is really a big shot in Ocean City, then if they hold this person hostage, can they blackmail him into getting them a boat and then leave here? If possible, no one would want to stay in this hellish place anymore. However, although some people have come up with this idea, no one dares to act rashly. After all, things seem a little too abnormal, and this man who suddenly appeared was naturally Li Xialuo because it was almost dark at this time. Basically no one would be walking around in Ocean City, and there was no need for Li Charlotte to hide in the survivor anymore, so he teleported directly to refugee camp number 18, because in Li Xialuo's plan, the people in these refugee camps might still be able to use it. Of course, there are actually many boats in the refugee camp in Ocean City. The reason why Li Xialuo appeared on the boat in refugee camp number 18 was naturally because of the little girl Lingling and Fatty at this time. Li Ziyang also looked at Li Xialuo in a daze. She was a little nervous for a moment, wondering who Li Xialuo was. "Sir, this bread is for you." However, Li Ziyang reacted quickly, and then handed the bread in her hand to Li Xialuo. Honestly, when Li Ziyang treated the ordinary survivors in this refugee camp just now, she could still pretend to be very tough, but Li Xialuo was not an ordinary person at first glance. She did not dare to disobey Li Xialuo, otherwise she was afraid that her granddaughter would be harmed. But Li Ziyang didn't know that the bread she gave her also saved her own life, allowing her to continue to live well in this apocalyptic world. Chapter 274. Is he mentally ill? Li Xialuo saw the expressions on the faces of everyone on the boat and could immediately guess what they were thinking. Li Xialuo smiled slightly. "Everyone, don't worry, I am not one of the senior officials of this Ocean City, and I am not here to hurt you." Everyone also knows that the top management of Ocean City are basically foreigners, and there are no Chinese people. Also, have you ever seen the top management of Ocean City come to this refugee camp? And they come here alone, without a soldier by their side. When Li Xialuo said this, many people thought it made sense. Even many people actually thought this way before. So a man bravely looked at Li Xialuo. "Then you are also a Chinese, and you are also a survivor who was captured or deceived to come here?" Li Xialuo shook his head. "It's true that I am Chinese. I don't need to say more about this, right? But I wasn't caught or tricked by the people from Ocean City. I followed their ship and then sneaked up on my own, following them and sneaking up here." The man muttered to himself, and then looked at Li Xialuo as if he was crazy. "Brother, are you serious? You are not mentally ill, are you?" In fact, apart from this man who thinks so, everyone else also thinks so. Li Xialuo's dress and complexion indicate that she is living a good life in the apocalypse. If he was not mentally ill, would he have sent the thugs to his door? They were either forcibly captured by the people in Ocean City, or they were deceived. If they knew that Ocean City was in such a situation, they would definitely hide. And how could they come to their door themselves? Li Xialuo did not refute the man, but glanced at everyone. "Everyone, you don't have to worry about whether I am mentally ill or not. I just want to ask all the men among you, are there any of you who are wise? You have been bullied casually by those Westerners and little people, and then raised like dogs. Do you want to resist? If anyone feels that he is still a decent man, then I can give you a chance." A chance to kill those idiots and get freedom. After Xialuo said these words, everyone on the boat felt short of breath. If given the chance, they wouldn't want to resist, take revenge and gain freedom. But anyone who dares to resist may not even be able to put their bodies together. Now many people have witnessed a large number of people who resisted being killed. Even if some people come later, they have not seen those who resisted being slaughtered with their own eyes. But I heard about it too. Moreover, the red color of the water nearby also told them what happened before, making them feel scared. So after that massacre, no one dared to stand up and resist unless they really didn't want to live anymore or couldn't survive anymore. Brother, you said give us a chance. What kind of chance is it? Yes, what kind of opportunity is it? Come and tell me quickly. If I really had the chance, I would do it too. When Xialuo said that just now, several men immediately stood up with excited faces. In fact, they had watched too many stories about fighting against foreign invasions when they were young, such as various anti-war dramas. At that time, they all felt that as long as they were allowed to come, they would definitely be able to do the same as their predecessors. But only when things actually happen to them do they realize that some things may seem simple to them, but are too difficult to do. Just like the resistance of those compatriots before, they used their bodies to resist the bullets of the Japanese. In the end, most of the people died in vain, and some people who were not shot on the spot were later tortured to death for the purpose of establishing their authority. As for the result, not even a single enemy was killed. However, although no one dared to resist later, it did not mean that they did not want to resist. Many people still have passion in their hearts. But there was really no chance of winning before, and they didn't want to die in vain. If anyone in this refugee camp stood up and said that they could kill those idiots and that they could be freed, no one would believe it. But Xialuo suddenly appeared, making them feel that it was too mysterious. Therefore, many people have a glimmer of hope in their hearts. At this time, the sky was already very dark, and some people far away could not even see Xialuo's expression, but they could still hear what Xialuo said. Everyone, as long as you have the courage, the promise I made will definitely come true. Those bastards in Ocean City are not just people with 3 heads and 6 arms. They are just ordinary people, but they have weapons in their hands, and I can also provide you with guns and ammunition. I can even destroy most of their guns and ammunition. In this way, our strength will become stronger, their strength will be weakened, and victory will definitely be achieved in the end. Belongs to us. It's just that the number of enemies is still relatively large. And they know that they will never be forgiven for the mistakes they made against us before, and they will naturally resist desperately. So there will definitely be deaths on our side. It depends on you. I don't have the guts anymore. After it got dark, the people on the boat in the refugee camp became much bolder, and they didn't have to worry about being spotted by Ocean City inspectors gathering together. So many people gathered around Xialuo and waited for Xialuo to finish speaking. Many people rushed to speak. Brother, can you really get guns and ammunition for each of us? Brother, are you from the military? And you are a special forces soldier. Do you have many teammates who have also infiltrated? Brother, if you are from the military, then there is no need for us to go to such trouble. Can we just let the military blow up the cruise ship with a missile? Ahem. Xialuo coughed loudly, interrupting everyone's discussion. No need to make wild guesses. Although I can get guns and ammunition, I am not a member of the military, and I don't have any special forces teammates in the dark. You can think of me as a slightly more powerful person, but you can't get used to seeing these foreigners being arrogant and domineering on our territory, and you can't get used to seeing our people being bullied by them, so I came here to help you. After Xialuo said these words, the scene suddenly became quiet. Then, a harsh voice suddenly sounded. Folks, we must not believe his lies. Don't you want to see us being bullied? Who would be so kind now? And look at it, he has nothing on him and yet he prepares guns and ammunition for so many of us. What does he give us? I think he just wants to trick us into committing suicide in order to achieve his ulterior motives. This voice was familiar to many people present. It was the middle-aged man who wanted to adopt Li Ziyang's granddaughter Lingling as his daughter. Chapter 275. Xialuo doesn't have to pay anything. However, the middle-aged man's words still made many people anxious because what the middle-aged man said actually makes sense. First of all, Xialuo said that he couldn't stand the behavior of those foreigners, and then he didn't want his compatriots to be bullied, so he took the risk to help them. Can there really be such a great person? Secondly, the more important thing is the guns and ammunition Xialuo mentioned. If there are no guns, then their resistance will be in vain. Brother, where's your gun? Yes, didn't you say you would provide us with guns? Take them out and let us see. That's right, you take out the gun first, and we'll talk about the rest later. Otherwise, don't try to fool us. In the dim light, Li Xiaoluo's eyesight was very good, so he could still see the proud look on the middle-aged man's face, and he could also clearly see the expressions on many people's faces. Some people are anxious, some are excited, and some are angry. However, some people were very calm and looked at Li Xiaoluo with hope in their eyes. After waiting for those who are easily instigated, the crowd became angry for a while. Li Xiaoluo said calmly, "Everyone, if you all think that I am telling lies and have some ulterior motives, then you can just not believe me and continue to wait here to die. What I want to tell you is that I can provide you with weapons, but you have to understand that I don't owe you anything. Since I can come here without anyone noticing, I can naturally leave here without anyone noticing. So if you are afraid of death, or you are unwilling to take risks, that is your own business. When the time comes, talk to me. It doesn't matter much. After all, it's your own choice. Brother, don't worry, we didn't say we didn't believe you, let alone that we didn't want to resist. Yes, brother, we have had enough of this humiliation, but we don't want to die in vain. So if you have a gun, let us see it with our own eyes, so that we can make up our minds. And you have to tell us how many guns and ammunition you have, right? That way we can know if there is any hope. Otherwise, if you only have 1 or 2 guns and a dozen bullets, it will be of no use. Yes, we are not cowards, we all want to resist." Li Xiaoluo said, "Okay, since everyone is determined, then I will provide you with guns and ammunition as before, so that you can take revenge and gain freedom. As for the guns, I can guarantee you that there will never be less than 50 guns, and the ammunition will not be less than 1,000 rounds. As for the guns you want to see, I can let you see them later. In fact, you don't have to worry at all if I really can't give you a gun. Can you just pretend that you haven't seen me? If I don't give you a weapon, will you still stupidly run to die?" In fact, the gun Li Xiaoluo said he wanted to give them was not Li Xiaoluo's own, but Li Xiaoluo had already detected the weapons depot in Ocean City through a drone. When it was later, Li Xiaoluo teleported directly into the weapons depot in Ocean City. Then, all the guns and ammunition were stolen. By then, even if the thugs in Ocean City will still have guns in their hands, they will not be too many and there will be even less ammunition. In this way, Li Xiaoluo was equivalent to using Ocean City's weapons to kill their Ocean City thugs. In addition, the main force fighting the thugs in Ocean City were also prisoners captured by Ocean City. Li Xiaoluo doesn't have to pay anything, and just remotely control it from behind the scenes. This is the most beneficial and safest way for him that Li Xiaoluo came up with in the afternoon. After all, if Li Xiaoluo is allowed to deal with the thugs in Ocean City alone, it will not only be time-consuming and labor-intensive, but may also be dangerous. Therefore, uniting those who can unite is the safest way. Brother, as long as you can really get so many guns and ammunition, then I will do it. And me, mother, if I don't dare to stand up when I have such an opportunity, I really don't deserve to be a Chinese, and I'm just trying to survive anyway. I might starve to death at some point, so I might as well give it a try." Li Xiaoluo said this, and many people immediately stood up anyway, just like what Li Xiaoluo said. If they can't see the guns and ammunition that Li Xiaoluo mentioned, then they will just pretend that Li Xiaoluo didn't say anything and continue to live in obscurity. But if Li Xiaoluo really has weapons, then they wouldn't mind giving it a try. Li Xiaoluo said loudly, "It's dark now, and I can't see how many of you there are. Let's do this. You recommend one person to be the captain, and then count how many people are willing to participate in this resistance action among those who are willing to participate in the action, and how many people know how to use guns. People who can shoot are basically veterans, so Li Xiaoluo must reuse them." Some people on the boat took action in the darkness, and it didn't take long for the statistics to be completed. A total of 20 people were willing to stand up and resist, and then they elected a man named Wu Jin to be the captain. Although 20 people was not too many, Li Xiaoluo felt it was normal. After all, there were women and children on the ship, and not everyone had the courage to not be afraid of death. Some people would rather live by themselves than take risks. Wu Jin, friendship level 65, potential value 19, special ability, none. Li Xiaoluo checked the information of 20 people, including Wu Jin, and found that there was no problem with their friendliness. Li Xiaoluo said to the 20 people, "My name is Li Xiaoluo. You can just call me Mr. Li from now on. Since you are willing to believe me, I promise here that as long as this Ocean City is completely taken over, those foreigners who have bullied you will be defeated by you. You can take revenge at will, and when the time comes, you can all have priority in the distribution of supplies in this ocean city, and then you can leave here and go live where you want. Woo. Jin looked at Li Xiaoluo in surprise. Mr. Li, are you willing to give us a boat and food, and then let us leave? In the eyes of everyone, including Wu Jin, Li Xiaoluo took such a risk to come to this ocean city and spent so much effort. Although he said it nicely, he couldn't stand the behavior of these foreigners, but Wu Jin and others felt that Li Xiaoluo was definitely not that noble, or that the team behind Li Xiaoluo was not that noble after all. If Li Xiaoluo really provided them with a large number of guns and ammunition, was it really to save their compatriots? Of course, as long as you can sail away from the boat here, you can sail away. They were the ones who robbed you of the food, so naturally you can take it away too. Li Xiaoluo nodded affirmatively. In fact, Wu Jin and the others didn't know that the reason why Li Xiaoluo was so generous was because he didn't pay anything at all. Even the guns and ammunition were borrowed by him, so in order to encourage their enthusiasm, Li Xiaoluo simply became more generous. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.